Tuesday, October 15th, Board of County Commission meeting to order. I would like to start with our invocation from Senator Darrell Roussant, District 16. So pleased to have the senator here. And I'd also ask Vice Chair Brian Scott to start the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards. If you'd all please stand. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have had the honor of offering the prayer on the Florida House of Representatives floor and also before the Florida Senate. So it is quite an honor today to offer the invocation before the Pinellas County Board of Commissioners. Dear Creator God, many need you now, perhaps more than ever. Thank you for the opportunity to enjoy another day of life despite our circumstances. Thank you for the leadership on all levels of government that have come together united by the tie of community to serve those in need. We ask that you restore all that has been lost, fix what is broken, heal those in pain. As these storms continue to rage in our lives, give us the assurance that our souls can be anchored in you. Release us from the stress and care of materialism and the attachment to things, and refocus our vision to the rebuilding of communities where neighbors can lean on one another in times of distress. Allow these county commissioners to share their ideas that will help pave the road forward towards our recovery. Give us the patience as we wait for the process to complete. When it's all over, we thank you in advance for the works you've empowered us all to make the county of Pinellas the beautiful piece of paradise where we are blessed to call home. We pray all this knowing that your will be done in all things. It is in the many names we know to call you. We all say, amen.
Amen.
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to ask Principal Planners Smita Ombadi and Luis Garcia, both with the Housing and Community Development Department, to join me at the podium. They'll be accepting the National Community Planning Month proclamation. Change is constant and affects all cities, towns, suburbs, and counties. Community planning helps manage this change in a way that provides better choices for how people work and live. It also provides an opportunity for all residents to be involved in making choices that determine the future of their communities. The full benefits of planning require public officials and citizens who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation. The celebration of National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of the members of the Board of County Commissioners, the local planning agency, Board of Adjustment of Appeals, the Historic Preservation Board, and other citizen planners who have contributed their time, expertise to the improvement of Pinellas County. We extend our heartfelt thanks to the continued commitment to public service by these professionals. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners that October 2024 be recognized as National Community Planning Month, And thank you so much for your dedicated service to make Pinellas County the best it is. Thank you so much.
I believe the purpose of planning is to serve. And so in this moment, I'd like to thank all the county departments, all the county officials who have been working so hard around the clock to help our citizens. I know, like working in the AOC, that some of our staff have lost their homes, and it's amazing to see how every day they come in, keep aside their own problems, and they focus on what needs to be done for our residents. So thank you.
Thank you. That was very well said. We're going to take a picture with the commissioners, if the commissioners would come on up. Come on up here. I know Commissioner Flowers will be here shortly. She's running into trouble with those four-way stops. It's pretty tough navigating some of those. Next, I'd like to ask Valerie Lee, Breast and Cervical Screening Program Manager from the Florida Department of Health operating in Pinellas County, to join me at the podium, and she'll be accepting the Breast Cancer Awareness Month proclamation. It's great to have you here, Valerie. Last year, nearly 311,000 new cases of invasive breast cancer and more than 51,400 cases of non-invasive breast cancer were diagnosed in the United States, with more than 42,000 people losing their lives to metastatic breast cancer. 1 in 8 women in America and 1 in 833 men will develop breast cancer at some point in their lives. That is 1 person every 2 minutes. Considerable progress has been made in the fight against breast cancer, yet it remains the most frequently diagnosed type of non-skin cancer and the second leading cause of cancer deaths among women in Pinellas County. Thanks to early detection and better treatments, mortality rates for breast cancer have decreased in the last decade. During National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October, we stand with our mothers, daughters, grandmothers, and friends supporting their struggles after a breast cancer diagnosis, as well as recognizing the doctors, nurses, and health professionals who care, and hard work gives hope to those living with breast cancer. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners that the month of October be recognized as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And thank you so much to your dedicated service to all of the men and women who suffer from breast cancer. Thank you so much. Is there, to say something?
Morning. Along with myself and the staff of the Breast and Cervical Cancer Program, I wish to thank the Pinellas County Board of Commissioners for your support, your prayers, and your patience with us. Thank you again.
Thank you. And we're going to have a photo with you up here.
Okay.
The commissioners want to come and join us. Okay, and we have some Employee Appreciation Awards and videos. It's time to honor 2 outstanding members of our Pinellas County Utilities team as part of Employee Appreciation Program. Today's first honoree is Heather Canham. Heather, there you are. Welcome, it's good to see you. And I'm going to thank you in advance. I haven't heard all your wonderful things, but thank you in advance. Heather is the chief plant operator with our William Dunn Water Reclamation Facility in Palm Harbor. She and her team convert the county's wastewater into reclaimed water that can then be used for irrigation, which helps us to preserve our fresh water supply. I'm glad to have Heather up at the podium, and we're going to watch a video of her and all the wonderful things she does to make our community great. You don't have the video, Pete? This time, okay. Well, then we're going to move on and bring up our other employee, and maybe we'll run them at the same time. So on behalf of the county, I want to thank, well, we're going to go on to the next one, is Travis Cool. Travis? Travis is a water quality specialist for the county, and he tests the water throughout our distribution system to make sure that the water that flows out of your faucets is as clean and safe as possible. And boy, you have been really busy in the last couple weeks, haven't you? I'd like to, Travis, it's good to have you here. And Pete, are we ready with the video now? Oh, all right, technical problems. So we're going to watch your videos later. But in the meantime, I know on behalf of all of the county commission that we are so appreciative of all the hard work you do all year long, but especially in the last 2 weeks. I know you've been working overtime and every single day, and the water and the sewer systems have been very challenging to keep operating, but you've done an outstanding job, and we're truly, truly grateful. So thank you. We're going to take a photograph with you here, and probably one with Barry first, maybe, or no? All of them. Okay, he's going to jump in. Come on, we'll go take pictures. Welcome, Commissioner Flowers. I'm sure it's all that four-way stop stuff that just wasn't working, right? It's good to have you join us. Okay, next we're going to go to citizens to be heard. And for those that are speaking, you'll each please, when you come up to the podium, please state your name and your address, and you'll have 3 minutes to be heard. We're going to start with David Ballard Geddes Jr. Morning, David.
Hi, good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Senator. Glad everyone's here and everyone is safe. My name is David Ballard Geddes Jr. I live on Georgia Avenue in Palm Harbor. Published in 1972, Maloney's Water Code serves as the foundation for the Resource Act of 1972, which the Resource Act of 1972 in turn bases Chapter 373 of the Florida State Statutes in the establishment of water districts. SWIFMUD, Southwest Florida Water Management District, is the district in which that we live. The promulgation of law regarding water assails itself from this book of constituted piracy as based on the 14th Amendment. Chapter 6 of Maloney's Water Code, over 65 pages of this book, is entirely devoted to weather modification operations. Based on Chapter 6, weather modification, cloud seeding, began as early as 1916 with Charles Hatfield in California, using everything from carbonic acids to silver iodide crystals in the early 1950s in methods of cloud seeding to modify the weather. This technology, placed in the hands of those who are sinister in nature, can be very devastating. So I ask, is the weather modification being used to conduct warfare? Warfare using weather modification or cloud seeding. The Declaration of Independence states clearly to ravage the coasts and to burn down the town. After last week on the West Coast here in Florida, we look more or less like a war zone from practical purposes resulting from such crossfire hurricane. I heard the National Guard last week had even been called up and have their boots on the ground. So I ask, is the modified hurricane just phase one? And using the unsanitary conditions surrounding us from the debris left from the hurricane to plausiate some sort of unsanitary condition and a reoccurrence of a pandemic and the insemination of diseases now hit us with phase number 2, with a real pandemic, and spray chemical and biological pathogens through our sprinkler systems and blame it on a malfunction at the sewer system processing plant. Warfare is frequently done in small, widespread increments, plausiating deniability and lack of accountability. The capacity to plausiate such deniability and lack of accountability has just been removed from.
Thank you, David. Lauren Balsich. Thank you for coming, Lauren.
Thank you. I'm Lauren Bavelsick. I live on 712 First Court in Palm Harbor in the Wedgewood subdivision. I'm here today to address the gross negligence on the part of Pinellas County to take action regarding the massive flood at County Road 95 and Westlake Road. In addition to the county, the Department of Public Works, I consider each of you to be personally negligent as well. There has been a long-standing issue with flooding at the intersection of County Road 95 and Westlake Road in Pinellas County. The county has never taken remediation steps. Part of the issue stems from the area being a closed basin with no drainage for rainwater. This is known by the county. The county has never taken any remediation steps. In 2012, Tropical Storm Debbie caused flooding that led the road and sidewalks of that intersection to collapse. This led to floodwaters entering into the adjoining Wedgewood Townhome condominium subdivision where I own a home. During this episode, the county brought trucks in to drain the water. In August of this year, 2024, another tropical storm named Debbie caused flooding in this area again. The waters rose quite high in the Wedgewood community, flooding roads and blocking access. I do not know the status of car damages. There was not any action taken by the county to drain or to remediate the floodwaters in any way. It took 2 weeks to completely drain. The water came almost as high as my AC unit, which sits atop a retaining wall. Now, in the aftermath of Hurricane Milton, there is massive flooding at County Road 95 and Westlake Road. The flooding is so extreme it extends well beyond the corner intersection. It has completely breached the First Court area of Wedgewood subdivision. The community is a non-evacuation zone. It is a non-flood zone. There are dozens of homes surrounded by waist-deep water. There is knee-high water in homes. These homes had power until Friday, October 11th, when the fire rescue contacted Duke Energy to cut the power. The fire department water rescued and evacuated residents from First Court. There is so much water surrounding my home, I have to wear waders in order to access it. My home still has a lot of standing water in it, and mold is growing everywhere. I cannot work to clean up or remove any of the damaged items. The neighborhood is being completely ignored by the county, and the water must be removed. Several people have filled out See-Click-Fix tickets only to have them closed. Yesterday, on Monday, October 14th, I spoke with Amy at the Department of Public Works at 9:18 a.m. She took detailed information from me, but could not transfer me to speak with anyone, as that they were in a command center not open to the public, not the office. She said she would email people. She called me back in less than 15 minutes to tell me that one of the email recipients, Jordan, told her to tell me to contact my HOA, not the county. I explained the history I just gave you and asked her to relay that to Jordan. I have heard nothing back. Nothing. My home is destroyed. I don't care who anyone thinks may be responsible for pumping out 7 feet of water in that intersection. 7 feet. Ask the fire department. They're checking it every day. But the county and you as its commissioners should be committed to the safety and protection of the citizens of Pinellas County, and you are failing. There are rumors that the county is refusing to send a pump truck. Jordan thinks our community HOA should be responsible. That is insane. If there was a fire in someone's home caused by an unattended candle, would the fire department refuse to help because they should not have left a candle? This is a major disaster. Again,
you,
my
Lauren.
home is destroyed.
Thank you,
A
Lauren.
FEMA agent
Lauren.
on site Saturday told me that the county can push this to the state, who then can involve FEMA. It's almost a week since the storm. We desperately need the water removed, and I want to know what you're going to do about it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And again, I truly understand, and
I don't really think you do. Send somebody out there to see it.
so next up, we have Joseph.
My name is Joe Bavelsick. I live at 712 First Court in Palm Harbor in the Wedgewood subdivision. And my wife Lauren just spoke with you a few moments ago. She would like to either continue with what she has to say, or if you have questions, she would like to address those. Would you like to speak with her, or may she have the time back at this podium for the rest of my time?
Sir, and I understand she has more to say, and I think what we should do is after the meeting, we can have a commissioner reach out to you. We don't have your phone number, so I would suggest we'll get your phone number, and then one of us will reach out to you. But the procedure that we have is everyone gets 3 minutes, and we don't transfer it that way unless you have 5 people.
Very well.
So, so I know she's got questions, and I know she's very upset. I understand. I'd be very upset too. I personally lost my home as well. So I do understand, and I understand your frustration, and I understand the heartbreak.
Very well.
Mine was a little different. I had 4 feet of seawater in my home, so it is different, but I do understand. And we're not trying to ignore you. We're not. So, so if it's okay, if maybe Commissioner Eggers will get your phone number. We'll have, actually, I'll have Ashley get your phone number. We'll make sure that Commissioner Eggers and Commissioner Scott and any other commissioner that wants to follow up with you, but I would work with one, and we'll see what we can do and get that done.
Commissioners, there's a staff report on this. There's a lot of details you need to understand.
Okay, but I do want you to have the opportunity to talk to a commissioner. Okay? Thank you. So Ashley will get your number. Thank you. Next, we have Robert Waterfield. Commissioner Eggers, I hope you're okay. I assigned that to you.
Good morning. My name is Bob Waterfield. I'm 2717 Fifth Court in Palm Harbor at Wedgewood. Most of it has already been said by the lady. My big question to the commission is there a procedure for you guys to monitor and ensure that all of these ponds that have pumping stations in them along 19 there, along Wedgewood, are working, or even have a pump in them? I'm understanding that there's a Honda dealership that is responsible for one of the runoff ponds there, and it has no pump in it. Who checks that? The one in our HOA, running fine, until the other ponds come over and drowned it and shorted out our pump. The pump over at King Pharmacy, I believe that's the name of it, from what I understand, you guys have taken and fined them in the past over not having their pump working. The hurricane didn't show up in 2 seconds. It showed up in days. Did anybody take the initiative to go and ensure that these pumps are working? That's my questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And then next we have Ricky Morales. Oh, no, Nicholas Tumello? Nicholas Tumello?
Good morning. I live at 709 First Court, at least I did. I escaped Hurricane Helena living off of in Coquina Key, and our cars almost got flooded there. Then we had scheduled to move on Friday, the day after the hurricane. As you can imagine, the stress that we endured through that. moving to high ground, no zone, no flood zone, no escape zone, to be effectively all of our things lost to now sewage water and waste, moisture with sewage contamination. We had our whole family with us. One of my father-in-law's in a mobile home. He came to stay with us. My mother lived off an apartment right off the water of the bay. So everybody was with us as we endured the hurricane and the flooding waters that came in and engulfed our entire home. My wife is 6 months pregnant. She had to wade through the sewer water to get out of there the next day. The whole house smelled like urine the whole night. I woke up with a migraine and got sick the next day, had to get antiviral medication. So did my father-in-law, who has an infection in his foot and had to wade through that water as well. We are devastated. We're homeless. I had to fix my car on top of that because the starter decided to die. But, we're trying to get back to work. My wife lost hours. I'm heading back today, and we're just devastated. We don't know where to go, who to turn to. We understand there are people at fault here, people who should have been on top of these pumps and high ground. We were not told. I asked multiple times if there were leaks. We had sandbags. We had wood to protect the home. Not going to get compensated after that. We bought a brand new generator that got flooded because it's 200 pounds and we couldn't carry that up the stairs. So I'm just pleading with the county to please, if you could help us. It feels like as a renter, I'm not being represented by my landlord or anybody, and it feels like I have no rights for my property that has been damaged. Please, if there's anyone that could counsel me and my family to steps to moving forward to get our stuff replaced and get our lives back to normal. Thank you.
Thank you. Barry?
And to that end, we do have FEMA assistance centers that have been established. If you go to disaster.pinellas.gov, it lists the locations and the types of aids that's available. So for anyone, all of the information and ways of getting assistance is, again, at disaster.pinellas.gov. And I don't have the CIC number, but we have a citizen information number that's also listed there where you can call, and they'll talk to you and talk you through how to apply for different types of assistance.
Commissioner Latvala?
The CIC number, I believe, is 464-4333. And one of the gentlemen was speaking about the car dealership and having a pump that I believe he said was not working, and they were responsible for that. Can you speak to some of the private property?
Commissioner, I can to some degree. I'd have to get Kelly up. This is there's issues of private property and private pumps that are supposed to be maintained by private property. I would have them get, if we turn that over to Commissioner, why don't we get a staff report with them? Because I think there may be other comments. We'd start, this is public comment. I'd rather not get into a tit for tat. I'd rather have staff explain that and then follow up directly with them, if that's okay.
Commissioner Eggers?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most prudent way to handle it. And, I certainly understand, mentally making sure that we're pointing fingers at the right parties and who's responsible for this. But at the end of the day, I didn't realize there was precedent to pump the area out, to help our residents through a crisis time. I think that's something that we have to be on our guard at all times. And I think a gentleman, I think it was Robert Waterford, or I'm sorry, I can't even read my own writing here, mentioned, is there a procedure to make sure pumping stations that are supposed to be doing their job are properly doing their job? And I don't know that there's one or two or three or four or five property owners that were supposed to be doing that. But at the end of the day, it's our residents that are having a hard time with this. So again, lessons learned, at really expensive lessons being learned. So it's a tough time, and these kinds of things are predictable. Other things, as the chair has said, aren't predictable. So I think we just need to step up on this. Thank you.
We do need to look at it, Commissioner. I think there's always an after action that we can learn from about, it's even, because you got all these old stormwater systems they were allowed to develop before our current regulations were in place. And so there may be things that we can do different. I don't think that. But I wanted to also say to the gentleman, so please go to our website, but I also got a text that Bay Area Legal Services can help renters. So please consider that also for advice and how to navigate some of these issues, along with our FEMA assistance website.
So Nicholas, I hope you heard that. If you're still in here, I don't see you. Bay Area Legal, you don't have to come back up. I just want to make sure you heard Bay Area Legal Services. And you're not the first person I've heard about landlords not giving any kind of leeway to get your things out. I mean, I've heard real horror stories from renters. So Bay Area Legal Services will help you. They offer free legal services. And then if you go to the FEMA sites, they can help you find housing, temporary housing, and assistance for hotel housing for you and your family members. So make sure that you do that as well. Those also that you're displaced from your home, the same thing. They will help you find places and help you with the temporary assistance for housing. So I don't think we can repeat that enough because so many people have been displaced. So thank you for coming out. You have not fallen on deaf ears, I promise. I know we got your phone number, and we'll be following up. Thank you. Commissioner Flowers, yes. I'll tell you what, if Ashley will come and get it from you, and she can get it to them. Okay, next we're going to, what I would like to do, and Barry, I hope you're okay with me doing this, and the commission, I'd like to go through the Countywide Planning Authority agenda items 5 through 9, and then I would like if we could jump to Kathy Perkins instead of waiting till the end of the meeting and have her give us an update. I know there's people waiting to hear it, and people watching probably would rather see it at the front end of the meeting versus the back end of the meeting. So if you're okay with that, we'll do that. So we're going to move on to number 5 in our public hearing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Agenda item number 5 is case number CW 2414. This is a proposal by Pinellas County to amend the countywide plan map from residential low medium to retail and services regarding 0.15 acre more or less, located at the 2520 55th Avenue North section. The public hearing was properly advertised and an affidavit of publication has been received for filing. No correspondence has been received by the clerk. The matter is properly before the board to be heard.
Okay, I have no one to speak on this item. Are there any wishes from the commission?
Move approval.
Got a motion from Commissioner Eggers, a second from Commissioner Scott. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, if the clerk could bring up the voting cards and members vote. And Commissioner Justice, I'm going to go ahead and ask you, even though you just walked in, we're on number 5. You're a yes? Okay. I'm not seeing the board.
Pete, is the board on? We can't see the voting card.
We're going to knock
So
the dust off.
I will, oh, there we go. It passes unanimously. Thank you. We're going to go on to number 6.
Agenda item number 6 is case number CW 2415. This is a proposal by the City of Largo to amend the countywide plan map from residential low medium to retail and services regarding 1.12 acres more or less located at 2565 Haynes Bayshore Road. The public hearing was properly advertised and an affidavit of publication has been received for filing. No correspondence has been received by the clerk and the matter is properly before the authority to be heard.
Okay, thank you. So we have one speaker to here to answer any questions that you might have. Commissioner Eggers.
Yeah, we heard this at PPC, but maybe just for the, a public sake, we could just discuss when you look at the from residential low medium to retail services, it looks like it's an area that kind of pops out differently. In other words, you have activity center to the west and you have residential low medium to the east, and right in the middle is this retail and services, and it doesn't seem to, it seems to be all by itself.
Okay,
And-
so-
and just
so-
wondering if somebody could just speak to why it's not one
So
or
Do
the
you want
do
the
you-
applicant, or do you want a staff report?
That was my question. Do you want the
No,
applicant, or you
no,
want to hear
just-
from
I do it
Brian?
real quickly,
Yeah.
very concisely.
If he has it.
Yes, Commissioner, I was at Fort Pinellas, I saw that conversation, and the answer is Largo recently adopted an activity center. That is the blue that you see, and that is adjacent to US 19. This property is a little further back, and it's not included in the activity center. And the reason we're not including in the activity center is because that boat sale and service use is now a non-conforming use in the activity center. So we have to use the retail sales and services use to continue the use, but that use that was been established for many years and is consistent with the other uses in that area, even though it's in an activity center, are still legally non-conforming. So they can continue as long as they're not discontinued. Once they're discontinued, they'll have to be something else.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All I needed.
Thank you.
Great, okay. Any other questions, discussion?
Move approval?
We got a motion from Commissioner Scott, a second from Commissioner Eggers. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, if you could, clerk could bring up the voting card, please. And Commissioner Flowers is a yes, and that passes unanimously. We're going to move on to number 7.
Agenda item number 7 is case number CW 2416. This is a proposal by the City of Largo to amend the countywide plan map from office and retail and services to retail and services regarding 1.46 acres, more or less, located at 3950 East Bay Drive. The public hearing was properly advertised, and an affidavit of publication has been received for filing. No correspondence has been received by the clerk. The matter is properly before the authority to be heard.
Okay, I don't have any cards on this for speakers. Do we have any questions or discussions? Got a motion from Commissioner Eggers, a second from Commissioner Scott. Seeing no other questions or discussion, if the clerk could bring up the board and commissioners vote. Commissioner Flowers is a yes, if you'd please note. We're waiting on 3, 2. Commissioner Justice? And that passes. Justice, what, are you a yes? Are you there?
Scott.
Who am I missing? Scott? I don't know my people here.
There we go.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. We're going to move on to number 8.
Commissioners, this item's been requested to be continued to the November 19th meeting.
Okay, so we'll move on to number 9.
Agenda item number 9 is case number CW 2418. This is a proposal by the City of St. Petersburg to amend the countywide plan map from public, semi-public to residential medium regarding 5.09 acres, more or less, located at 6942 First Avenue South, 0 First Avenue South, and 0 Second Avenue South. The public hearing was properly advertised, and an affidavit of publication has been received for filing. No correspondence has been received by the clerk, and the matter is properly before the authority to be heard.
Okay, I have cards here from the applicant if there are questions. They are available to answer any questions. So any questions, discussion, questions of the applicant? We got a big packet here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So we did have quite a bit of information to take a look at, and we had a staff presentation. If you'd like a presentation, we'd be happy to have the staff come up and give it. Move approval. We have a motion from Commissioner Eggers, a second from Commissioner Scott. Any other questions or discussions? No, we'll enjoy perusing that document afterwards. If the clerk could bring up the voting cards and commissioners vote. And we're missing one. Who are we missing?
We got one.
We got it, I'm sorry. I've got storm brain on my head. That passes 6-1. And we need to go back to number 8. I apologize, we used the wrong term, so if the county attorney will correct us so we're in the proper posture.
If you all wish to continue this to the November 19th meeting, I recommend that you take a vote to do specifically that so that you can avoid the need to re-advertise this case.
Okay.
But take a specific vote to continue it to that date certain of, it's November 19th? Of November 19th.
Do we have a motion to move this to
Move
November
appro-
19th?
Move approval to continue to November 19th.
Commissioner Long made the motion, and I didn't hear the second. Okay, Commissioner Scott seconded it. I'm going to do an all in favor. Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you for getting us in posture. I'm going to do the consent agenda, and then we'll go to Kathy so we can let everybody else go.
We have
And,
items 10 and 11.
We have 10 and 11?
Yeah, we
10
got
and
two more.
11, okay. All right, Kathy, I really want you up here. You can tell, I just really want you up here, but we're going to wait just a minute. Number 10.
Item number 10, I believe, is being deferred to the 11:19 meeting as well, so do we need a motion for that?
And this was a situation where unfortunately, the advertisement was placed today for 6 PM. So the advertisement needs to be redone, so we don't need a motion on this.
We don't need a motion on that one. Okay, number 11 then.
Agenda item number 11 is a proposed ordinance amending section 126.302 of the Pinellas County Code relating to adjustments to the procedure for converting septic system to public sanitary sewer connection within county sanitary sewer service areas. The public hearing was properly advertised, and an affidavit of publication has been received for filing. No correspondence has been received by the clerk. The matter is properly before the board to be heard.
Okay, and I have no cards to speak on this item. Any questions or discussion?
Move approval.
Got a motion from Commissioner Scott. Do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Flowers. Commissioner Eggers.
Yeah, somebody could just basically give us the, the high-level view of the changes that are occurring here, significant changes that are occurring in this
So what this does, Commissioners, is it takes the sewer up to the property owner's right away. So for instance, we had a situation where the sewer's across the street. So to get them to abandon their private system and connect, they would have to run a sewer through underneath a private street, very expensive, and they simply wouldn't do it. This would allow us to bring the sewer to the property owners right away, and then it would be up to them to take the connection from there.
That was a situation I ran into with a constituent last year as well. The exact situation.
That's the one I used for it. It's a great example where we wanted them to do something, but it made it cost ineffective for them to do it.
Right.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, if the clerk could bring up the voting cards and members vote. That passes unanimously. So I'm going to go to the consent agenda, items 12 through 34. I'm going to pull number 15 because we have a speaker.
And I would like to pull 17 as well.
17, so 15 and 17.
It's 15.
Okay, 15 and 17, anything else? Okay, can I have a motion for the other items? A motion from Commissioner Justice?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we're going to go to number 15. Barry, if you want to read that.
Well, item number 15 is a report from the Inspector General on a particular case.
Okay, and we have Jeremy Heath that would like to speak on that item. Jeremy, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Jeremy Heath, 5647 35th Way North, 33714. Good morning. I have stood in front of this commission a few times over the last 18 months on this particular issue as it regards to conflict of interest, transparency to Lellman, and doing the right thing. I still do not believe enough has been done to ensure things like this do not happen again. The same individuals continue to appear under controversial circumstances, and not enough has been done to pave a path forward. I have taken the following directly from the report. If you've chosen to read it, you'll find the same thing. This was a first-of-its-kind pilot program. This is the only time BCC and the CRA, myself included, waived conflict of interest for the contractor while serving on our CRA board. Knowing of these appearances, the respondent repeatedly directed staff to, quote, provide more flexibility within the contract. This flexibility was to proceed with work without a formal notice to proceed as well as invoicing that included dumpster billing, which specifically went against the terms of the contract and the direction of purchasing. The contract said that it did not allow equipment billing and that you must supply your own equipment. Even when given the opportunity in year 2 of this contract, the contract was not amended. Purchasing, prior staff, and current staff all raised concerns about the lack of notice to proceed and the convoluted invoices. Yet, over the life of the 2-year contract, only 1 formal NTP was submitted, and 52% of all jobs were submitted without an NTP whatsoever. When interviewed, the contractor said, quote, "No alleys were cleared without NTP." This is a patently false statement, taken under oath. When interviewed, the respondent said that purchasing okayed to proceed without an NTP. This is also a false statement given under sworn oath. Purchasing directly said that an NTP was needed in August of 2023. Duplicate, inaccurate, and false invoices were all submitted. Even when given the opportunity to clear up misunderstandings as recently as March 29th of this year, the contractor could not prove that work had been completed in which invoicing had been submitted. It has been determined that the county and the Lellman CRA has experienced a financial loss. I am disappointed that this financial loss cannot be quantified. I would think it would be the job of the IG to determine what this number is. In my rather extensive experience in finance, when a financial statement can't be rectified, that is textbook definition of fraud. In fact, an officer of the Pinellas County IG office reviewed this report, this is important, and came to the conclusion, number 1, that a 3rd-degree felony perjury took place, as well as fraud. Within the report was the following quote: "Noncompliance with contract terms can indicate weak contract management, increase the risk of fraud and unethical behavior in an organization, and lead to contractual disputes." And finally, I would take issue with one of the management responses to this report. Quote, "Noncompliance did not affect
Thank you, Jeremy.
effectiveness."
Thank you, Jeremy. We
That's it.
appreciate you coming, and we appreciate all your diligence. Thank you. Barry?
I'd like to respond because we've seen this come back before this commission repeatedly. And the reason it keeps coming back is because of a few individuals that keep trying to find things within the Lellman CRA, including the individual that just spoke. We've had no less than 20 separate requests for IG investigations. Yet in every single case, every single one except 2, it's not unsubstantiated or findings of fact, it is unfounded every single time. So it becomes a case of if you throw enough stuff against the wall, you hope something sticks. In this particular case, it's very clear that staff could have handled this differently. I've acknowledged that. What happened is on dumpsters, that the previous waste management company said they would donate, the company changed hands. And so when the new company come in, they said, we're no longer going to honor the free dumpsters for the alleyway cleanups. And so with that, they increased the amount of what they were charging off under the terms of the contract. They should have done a contract amendment. They should have. We acknowledge that. But they changed it, and the IG found that no money changed hands, that it was accounted for, and therefore that it should have been handled differently. But no one took anything but for private interest. And so we did, and that's the reason it came back as unsubstantiated. Okay, and the other was completely unfounded. 18 of 20, I believe. Don't hold me to that, but it's been a bunch where it's completely unfounded, over and over and over again, and yet we keep continuing to throw stuff to the IG in hopes that there is something that sticks. It really goes back to the credibility of the people making the complaint. And so if you continue to throw stuff up that has absolutely no basis in fact, and then you try to find something, then you have found an internal procedural issue that we should have handled differently. But there was no money that changed hands. There was no money there was nothing for private gain. It was to try to clean up people's alleyways, which is in fact what occurred. So with that, I think it goes to the, how this is being perpetuated and how certain people continue to look for things rather than try to find things that benefit the community.
Okay. Well, Commissioner Eggers.
I'm not going to get into it this morning. I've raised some concerns over the years on some of the goings-on in that area. All I want to say is I appreciate that certain folks have taken it upon themselves to be a little bit of a bird dog and really tough on this. And even if it comes across sometimes as a little excessive, I'd rather go on that side than on the other. And so I don't think anybody should apologize for having concern about their community. The personal stuff, everybody has to make their own choice on that. Sometimes it gets personal and you want to continue things that don't have that much legs, but we are accountable, period, end. And so when there's enough here, if you read the report, and I read every single page on the first issue, that there were some problems. Now, they've been addressed, the procedure's been changed, and I appreciate that. But again, to say that there's, I don't think anybody's saying that there was nothing going on. There was nothing untoward. Nobody put money in their pockets, that's for sure. But there's a lot of tightening up we can do and do a better job of it. So I just wanted to thank the folks that do care about Lellman and the concerns that they have. Thank you.
Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to echo everything that Commissioner Eggers just said. I think a lot of it, the report did identify some issues that have been taken care of. There was one thing in there that I'm not sure I can find it right now, but it indicated that one of the recommendations was it appeared that there was some overbilling, and the recommendation was to try to recapture that. Is there any? But I didn't see an amount quantified there.
It's where they charged off hours that were equal to the cost of the dumpsters. Okay, but again, I met with the IG. There's full accounting of that cost. Okay. It should have been handled differently, but we're not going to go back and charge a nonprofit for something they in fact delivered and they incurred a cost on. So there's no need for a recoupment.
Okay. All right, just want to make sure because I just want to get that out in the public because we are accountable for those dollars. Thank you.
Okay, and I agree with everything that's been said, and I think that them constantly throwing stuff helped identify some weaknesses, and that just makes us better. So, I'm okay with that, and so I appreciate. Thank you.
And if I'm a little tense, I did meet.
I understand.
I did meet with Jeremy. Okay.
Okay.
And that's the sad part is I did meet with him and I took his concerns, but yet we continued to have these public forums where we continue to make unsubstantiated allegations.
Okay. Well, again, I think it's always a good exercise, regardless of the time it takes, to make sure that we're doing everything right.
And this is when the IG report is being brought to us. So I think it's appropriate time to ask questions or make comments.
So, okay, so we got Commissioner Flowers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Barry, for sharing in a public venue probably what some of us didn't know as it relates to various meetings and communications and whatnot between individuals. As commissioners, we certainly can't communicate one to another, so we don't know what each person may be communicating or anything until we've actually gotten the information in front of us. When we're addressing CRAs, community redevelopment associations and whatnot, the intent is to uplift and to help rebuild communities. So I've lived through a number of iterations serving on city council and then the iteration serving here on the county commission. And I think sometimes, not sometimes, we have the best of intent when we're looking at CRAs because we want to help improve those communities. And Lellman certainly was a community that had a lot of concerns that now have been and are being addressed. I guess the only concern I have, and again, I can't control anyone's comments, when you use words like fraud, felonies, things like that, it then kind of lends a whole nother texture to the conversation, which is why I'm glad we were able to communicate, to have Jeremy share on multiple occasions his concerns, and then to have Barry, you as the administrator, to share or expand and expound on. For anyone that would like to read our IG reports. That's why we have the IG process. They go in and they review all departments. You know, all departments. And that's a good thing, I believe, because that way, if there are any issues or concerns, they can be caught, and hopefully things are put in place as a result of drawing attention to anything that's done. So I know sometimes when we have people that look at our meetings, they'll take bits and pieces and only use that bit or piece. And I just wanted to convey that we do have an IG department that I think is a very good department, tries to be very thorough in their reviews of the various departments. They don't just pick one or two, they review all the different departments at different times, rotating different times. And that if there was anything that was an outright felony or outright illegal, that then the steps would be taken as it results to handling that. We've had some where things have been done, they've been inappropriate, and that person or persons have been charged accordingly, and they're no longer employed with the county, and they're charged accordingly. So I just wanted to share that piece because I've read them as well. I know we got some others here that I have some questions about in the IG reports, but I just like to kind of address it when those strong terms are being put out, because then that gives, if it's not noted or stated, it gives the impression that there is felonious activity and that has not been addressed. So
It's an important point, Commissioner, because just for the members of the public, the IG does not report to me. It reports to our elected comptroller and clerk, Ken Burke. So I can assure you that if there were allegations that are substantiated of fraud, it would have been handled through legal processes without even coming to me, regardless of what I thought, because that's the way it should be. They're an independent group. They have a separate reporting structure, and they process cases all the time where, not all the time, thankfully, but they would handle that directly with the sheriff's office and with the appropriate authorities.
but I do agree with the areas where belts needed to be tightened, and they were tightened, so, but just one.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? Okay, do we have a motion to approve number 15? Second from Commissioner Flowers, second from Commissioner Scott. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimous. We're going to move on to number 17.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This was, I think, the most IG reports I've ever seen, 6 in one meeting. Maybe it's because we haven't met that much in a while here, but that was a lot of information to go through. Number 17 was on the Employee Sites Program with Pinellas County Economic Development, and they identified 2 things that kind of surprised me. One was lack of adequate clawback provisions for companies if they don't perform in the way that they say that they will. And the other one was a formal methodology had not been created for the department's scoring approach. And both of those surprised me because when Dr. Johnson has presented situation to us, application to us, all of that seemed very much in order, and I've always asked the question about adequate clawback provisions. And that all sounded very, very solid to me. So I just really, just a comment is that when Dr. Johnson and her team are done, you know, revising their processes or whatever they're going to do there, if they could come back and present that to us just so we can see what's been changed and understand.
Do you want to address it now, Cynthia, or wait? We do have provisions in place, okay? So don't think there isn't. These were recommendations on strengthening that process. And what they're looking for is a fixed scoring methodology that then automatically ranks it, and there's so much subjectivity into the quality of the application, location of it is in needed areas versus other areas, and the types of jobs that are being created. So there's some subjectivity in there built into that process for a reason, but we've got a consultant working on helping us revise that criteria that goes to the IG's concerns, and we'll bring that back before you. But she can address it. We've talked about both of these items and how to strengthen this program.
Okay, great.
Good morning, Cynthia Johnson, Economic Development, and Barry is absolutely correct. We do have those procedures. What the IG was requesting of us is to give greater detail in the procedures. So over the 75 procedures we do have, the one with the clawback was one that he wanted additional detail on that. And then that last one was the scoring methodology. When we created the program, of course, it was an original program, had never been done. And in fact, we requested that the IG look at the program early on so we can identify opportunities for improvement. And so this was one of the areas where that methodology was really based on working with developers. And as we found, we got over 50% of the applicants were small business. So the range of what they do is different than a developer. So that's why we're working with a consultant to get a better handle on the methodology that will be appropriate for a developer and a small business owner.
I appreciate that explanation very much, and I've always thought that the processes were very solid, so that's why I was surprised to see that stuff, but it sounds like we're just tweaking the margins a little bit to make it more appropriate for which
To their point,
businesses
the
are.
IG's being thorough.
Absolutely.
They read it, we assume something, that's the
Right.
reason it's had to have a second set of eyes, is they read it as it's written, and that challenges us, and that's good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner, oh, I'm sorry, are you not done? All right, Commissioner Eggers, did you have a question?
Yeah, I think the term clawback is really important. And again, I think to this program, I appreciate the tweaks that we're talking about. We've been doing some things for some developers that have mobile homes, and we wanted to make sure there was clawback on that as well. So clawback is really important part of public funds. That we're giving to an infrastructure piece, or we're giving to a company to make sure that they're doing the right things, or bring it back to us.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate the comment, Commissioner Scott, and anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
and I'm going to ask you to move your microphone to the other part of your desk. Thank you.
Trying
Thank
to
you.
do this, and I forgot.
I know, thank you. We
Sorry.
just don't want anyone to miss what you're saying.
Move
Thank you. Got a motion and a second. A motion from Commissioner Scott, second from Commissioner Flowers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes unanimously. So I would like to go to Kathy Perkins' report. I think a lot of people really want to hear it. So Kathy, if you
All right.
want to come up.
So I'll start, Commissioners, and Kathy's going to give you the details. There she is, front and
Wasn't she
center.
an outstanding escort?
Yeah.
What a great job
She'll-
escorting the President of the
She'll
United
be
States.
doing autographs afterwards. Good morning, Commissioners. Again, last week we experienced yet another devastating blow with Hurricane Milton. Even though it took a last easterly turn and didn't hit us directly, you'll see through the numbers that we're going to talk about today, our residents and our businesses still experienced incredible loss. The number of destroyed properties from Milton has now surpassed that of Helene. As you know, we were barely, getting back on our feet from Helene when Milton set us back even further. There's an enormous amount of work ahead. Yesterday, I signed an extension to the local state of emergency that will enable us to keep doing our work for recovery. Kathy's going to give you an update on this. Our staff is literally working around the clock. And they should be, because our residents are hurting. And, and so many are without a home, are couching, surfing with a friend, trying to find a place, and we understand that. We're doing everything that we can, but it's going to take time. This is an issue of devastation that we have never seen before. Although we have procedures in place, and I know there's some requests for me to kind of go into that in detail, and I will, that type of response will take time. It has in every single hurricane. Governor said that it's not unusual for 9 months to a year for debris. That's what he said at his press conference. That's not what our residents want to hear, and that is not what we want as your local county government for our residents. We're doing everything we can to speed this process up as quickly as possible, but it will require patience. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Kathy, and then I have some final closing comments before we open it up for discussion. Kathy.
Good morning, Commissioners. So for Hurricane Milton, the search and rescue teams finished up their operations on Sunday, and they did almost 62,000 primary, hasty, and secondary searches going through structures just to make sure that we didn't have anybody that was trapped inside or needed rescuing. For 911 calls, they were significantly down for Milton than where they were from Helene. And we do credit that to our community heeding the warnings and evacuating to safety in advance. But as you heard some of our residents say, the flooding issues that we experienced, unfortunately, for Milton were similar to Debbie. They were inland, and due to those heavy amounts of rain that fell in a short period of time through different neighborhoods. So certainly, we had a lot of water rescue missions that were occurring in those neighborhoods post-event. With our hospitals, so HCA Largo unfortunately experienced flooding during the event, so they are still offline. Bay Pines VA did evacuate the area because they're in such a vulnerable location, so they are working on bringing their patients back into the area. They are offering outpatient services, and then all of our other hospitals are currently back online. We are continuing to check on our long-term care facilities that are still on generator power. We want to make sure that they have enough fuel to continue to operate, and we also check to see if they have any other type of critical needs to take care of some of our most vulnerable residents here. And our dialysis centers are back up and running. So things are starting to stabilize across the community when it comes to those services. But, as the county administrator said, we still have work to do. We still have 3 shelters open for the community. Right now, we have about 220 people in our Ross Norton location, 92 at the Coliseum down in St. Pete, and 37 up in North County at Whitechapel. So approximately about 300 people still in shelter, and we are currently working with them to determine if they're able to go back when the power is restored, but we also know that we have people that have been displaced, and as the gentleman said this morning, and the other folks said, the people that still have standing water or had a lot of water in the residence, they're going to be displaced for a longer period of time. So we are looking at what are those transitional sheltering options. We started to look at what is that 2-week to 2-month term, and then beyond that. So I want to encourage anybody that needs a place to stay. We do have those shelters open. The Red Cross is also working on opening another shelter location, and we'll announce that hopefully later today. But in the meantime, if you cannot stay with family or friends, or you cannot stay in a hotel or a motel, you are welcome to come into one of our shelters. And if you need assistance, you can call our County Information Center at 727-464-4333. And then also through the FEMA Individual Assistance Program and through Hope Florida, they can help get rental assistance, and Hope Florida can also help do placement. So I want to encourage anyone and everyone to go out to either the Disaster Recovery Center at the Botanical Gardens or some of the other multi-agency resource centers we have, or apply online to FEMA or Hope Florida to be able to get that assistance as quickly as possible. We do have so many tremendous agencies that have come in to volunteer and help us, and I know we've got a lot of people that want to give us donations. We ask that you don't just drop off donations at one of our shelter locations or any county facility. We really want to make sure that we're funneling that, going through the donations and getting that to all the neighborhoods in need. So if you are interested in donating items or volunteering, you can call our County Information Center, again, at 727-464-4333. And we are diligently working with we have a lot of large groups that are bringing in donations, and we want to make sure we get them out to the folks that are impacted. In terms of feeding, so once we started to ramp up things after Helene, and then we had to shut everything down when Milton came. So now we're going back to making sure that we get assistance set up out in the community. So we have our feeding partners back in town. So Operation Barbecue, World Central Kitchen, the Midwestern Food Bank, Salvation Army, and Red Cross, and many, many, many of our local feeding partners are coordinating feeding missions to areas of need. And we know, there's probably a lot of folks that we're very dependent upon feeding through schools. Schools will be back up and running tomorrow for the students. So we want to make sure that everybody's taken care of. We have daily calls with all of our municipal and our special fire districts to continue to assess if they're identifying locations and people out there. FEMA has their disaster survivor assessment teams going out into communities. We're looking at where the damages were for Debbie, Helene, and Milton, so we can make sure that we're covering all areas of the county that may have been impacted by one or more of these storms. And the state also has their human needs assessment teams going out. So please, again, if anybody knows of any areas that perhaps we've missed or you haven't seen assistance, please, you can call our County Information Center to let us know. So that way we can continue to follow up on folks out there in our community that have need. We do have over 12 voluntary organization actives and 50 volunteers supporting our efforts, and this is continuing to grow. As you can imagine, you know, the entire west coast of Florida plus areas all the way up into North Carolina heavily impacted by storms. So we've got a lot of folks that are coming in to help us from all over the country. We do have cooling and comfort stations available, so people can come in and charge their phones, and if they still don't have air conditioning, come in. Luckily, the weather's been a little bit cooler, but, you know, I get it. Like, trying to sleep at night without air conditioning is not always the most comfortable. We do have stations open in Bel Air, Largo, South Pasadena, and St. Pete Beach. And again, you can find all of these locations and hours on our website at disaster.pinellas.gov, or you can call the County Information Center, and they'll be happy to find something that's close to you. And just to let people know, PSTA is running free rides throughout the county. So if there's anybody that unfortunately may have lost a car or they need transportation assistance, the buses are running and can get you to these different locations. FEMA has set up the Disaster Recovery Center that's located at our Botanical Gardens on Ulmerton Road. And that is also co-located with a state multi-agency resource center. So we're giving out different commodities there, and we have people there that can help people register for FEMA. And I do want to say, so for each disaster, you have to register separately. So you can go on and register. You can register for Debbie, Helene, and Milton. So if you're impacted by any or all three of those, make sure you're registering for those. And then the state has set up some public fuel distribution sites. I do believe fuel has been coming back in, and we've had more gas stations coming online. But there are free sites where people can go to get, I believe it's 10 gallons of gas, unleaded and diesel, at the St. Pete College in Tarpon Springs, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Research Institute in St. Pete, and the Mary Grizzle State Office on Ulmerton Road. We're continuing to do lots of outreach with flyers and getting out to as many different communities to get information in people's hands. And again, those human needs assessment teams from the state and the FEMA disaster survivor assessment teams are going out and canvassing many different neighborhoods. So far to date, FEMA individual assistance, as of yesterday, we had almost 54,000 people registered for Helene and almost 56,000 for Milton, and I'm sure we'll continue to see those numbers grow. You can call FEMA at 1-800-621-3362 or visit disasterassistance.gov to get your application started. In terms of people needing assistance with cleanup, there is a crisis cleanup line, and these are voluntary agencies that will come out and help individuals that need help. And you can call that line at 844-965-1386. And we already have over 2,000 cases opened up here in Pinellas, and that's between Helene and Milton. So I want to make sure, and again, all of this information is on our website. I know I'm giving you a lot of phone numbers, but if you go to disaster.pinellas.gov, we continue to update that website with all of the recent agencies and all the things that are coming online. And I do really want to talk about, so we talked about FEMA has programs, so they can do the serious needs, which helps get, I think it's about $750, get that into people's bank accounts, especially if you're doing the direct deposit, within a couple of days. And there's other programs, they have rental assistance, so if that's something that's determined you need, they can help get money for you to be able to go out and rent locations as well, or if you have to go stay in a hotel motel. And on our website, we do have lists of different rentals that we knew were available, but obviously that's going to continue to change as time goes on. Hope Florida can also help people with non-congregate sheltering. So please, we have some of those folks co-located with some of our state multi-agency resource centers, but you can also call 1-833-GET-HOPE to find more information and get registered through them. We had a bus yesterday down in St. Pete as well. So we'll continue to advertise where personnel are and where those services are to help people get hooked up. And I do really want to stress, so this has been very stressful, right? We've been going through this for 2 months. Some people were impacted by Debbie, and then we just had back-to-back Helene and Milton. So for anybody that is feeling stressed out there, please reach out to someone, have a conversation. We have the disaster distress line at 1-800-985-5990. And you can also call our Care About Me line at 1-888-431-1998 or go to careaboutme.org. And again, all of these resources are on our disaster.pinellas.gov website. In closing, I just truly want to thank my team of 15 emergency management personnel, everybody, all the county departments, all of the county administrators, every city, every faith-based organization, voluntary organizations, private nonprofits, just the tremendous amount of support that we've gotten from everybody and from community members that are able to help their neighbors. We still have a long journey ahead of us, but truly the outpouring of support from everybody has been phenomenal.
And Commissioners, give you on a different side of the House, we've completed for both Helene and for Milton damage assessments. You've got a total of 12,000 damage assessments for Milton, 439 destroyed properties, 1,922 major, 5,058 minor, and 4,460 affected. For Helene, 268 destroyed, 16,803 with major damage, 6,467 with minor damage, and another bunch affected. That is the initial damage assessment. There's a follow-on piece that if you're in one of the affected areas, there's going to be a substantial damage assessment process, and that's required. That's going to take time. We've requested additional resources to help with that more detailed inspection, both from that and for our cities, because depending upon, so we have the unincorporated area and the 7 contract communities, but the cities have their own building inspection department, and then there's a review process for that. That's a much bigger issue, and that's going to take some time. We've requested additional resources for that. Power outages, you're down to 7% with Duke, 9% with TECO. 25 lights are offline. This is Pinellas County. There's more down in St. Pete and some in Clearwater. Those are the 3 groups of lights. Clearwater has their own, St. Pete has their own, and then the county has the rest. Boil water notices have been lifted, even for Gulfport this morning. That was the latest one. So that's coming online, and we're back up and running. Parks are going to be, they're closed, but we're going to bring them back online as we can, as it's safe. For instance, Paul was talking last night, and he's got trees that are leaning against other trees. Well, it's just unsafe until all those dangerous situations can be removed. You don't want someone walking in and that tree falls. So, or things that are up in the trees that are hanging there, but they can't get to them without power equipment and things like that. So there's a number of situations he'd like to bring some back online. And I know people that are stuck at home or displaced or in a small apartment, they need to get their kids out and their dogs out and go to a park. We understand that, and we want to bring those back on. So just continue to check our website. As we can bring parks back online, we will. Some of them are being used for other purposes too, but please check our website, and we want to make sure they come online, but they do so safely. From the county's operation, you have some functions that opened today, down in the clerk's office and other things. Payment utilities had opened, but we stayed closed to the public today. We will reopen tomorrow. That is the same time that the schools will reopen to kids, and so that's kind of as we go. We're focused really this week on debris and substantial damage and permitting. There's going to develop a public information is difficult. It just is, and getting that information to people. But we're gonna really work hard at making it simple, trying to give people and managing expectations, both for us but also with the cities. And people don't understand that. They come to the county because we're out here, and they want to see that. And so we're trying to make links to the cities, and they're coming online with their debris collection programs. We've got it front incorporated, and as those things develop, there'll be more information. And we're going to try to do as best job as we can of pushing out that information, both when things will occur, but to also let them know that it will occur. Sometimes, you know, we put out, like we pushed out yesterday, we said, here are targets first, and it's said down in there, but we're going to get to all the areas. We need to put that first. People need to know that if you don't see your name on the list, we haven't forgotten you, okay? And we will get there, but we can't be all places at once. We have so many crews, and the volume of material, I mean, you can't make it down a street without having to go dump, you know, because it's just the volume. The trucks fill up, and that's just a capacity issue within this storm. So we're going to be doing a better job with that. They announced zones yesterday. They're even doing public outreach flyers out in neighborhoods to where they can pass things out for people that may not be going to our website. People are still without power. They can't plug in their phone. They're not exactly, you know, searching websites and things like that. So we're trying to do, you know, as much as we can with that. Multiple departments, including the property appraiser, are looking at our substantial damage reports. And again, we have working groups. We meet with the cities. We talk about issues. We're trying to solve them. But there's simply, and it has occurred with each storm, but there's capacity issues within the cities. We had many cities that had debris and plans in place, and the contractors simply went somewhere else that they had lined up. Under the guidelines, each city, and this is pre-storm, this isn't something we developed with the storm. Each city in the county had to have a debris management plan. That debris management plan had to identify sites that they could take the debris to, and it had to have a FEMA-approved monitor for that site and a FEMA-approved contractor. And these are approved through the Florida Department of Environmental Management and FEMA, and Kathy can correct me on that, a formal approval process. So I'm a little fuzzy on that, but that's the plan. And the plan is that everybody says take it to the landfill. Well, the landfill can't handle it. And remember, the landfill is a Subtitle D landfill. It's not a construction demolition landfill. And this is debris that goes to a construction demolition landfill. That's the way it's designed. You have 3 different places that they can take it here in the county. And they charge for that, and one ships it, it's a transfer station, and the other's landfill, in a construction demolition landfill. That's how those are designed. The contractors that are under contract take them to these debris fields. So if you go up to, for instance, down at the ICOT Center, or you go up to Keystone and McMullen or Eastlake, those are fields where you have to separate, you know, vegetation, debris, and appliances. That's how it's set up. And then it's processed from there through these C&D landfills somewhere around the state. Again, that's how it is done. And the monitors are the ones that certify, they know where that's coming from. So as part of this process, I'm like, wow, this is convoluted, you know, being the first time through for me. And then you hear our consultants that are there talk about at other hurricanes where there's fraud and where there's, you know, everybody's getting somebody to, and then they're billing back. And so rules are meant to have some accountability. We sent a letter to the governor, and he sent that to the president that requested several things. We've gotten public assistance that's standard turned on, but there's other things that could help make this process easier. One is combining the disasters together. I mean, we have 6 piles. There are 3 piles that I was just talking about, one for Helene and one for Milton, because we have to have it set up that way. That's the accountability piece back and how you charge that back and how FEMA does their reimbursement. They did expand the cost share, the non-congregate sheltering, but there's things that we could do with the rapid debris removal. And where I know you had a lot of interest is private companies. Okay, and private companies wanting to come and just dump at these sites. Well, again, under the rules, commercial waste is not a FEMA reimbursable cost. In other words, it's an insurance company issue. And they should be going through their insurance company. They haul that out. They get paid on that. And so, in essence, you can't put that on the taxpayer to dump for free, and that's how that's organized. The problem with that is it is designed around multifamily is considered commercial. And so I don't know how you separate waste going through neighborhoods in Indian Rocks Beach. You know, you've got a duplex, a single family, it's all piled on the curb, and they're just picking it up. Well, why can't we have the commercial contractors, if we can tie it back to an address, come to one of our sites and bring it there? That's what we've requested. That's a way of which we could get some of that private going and allow for commercial. And so that's what we requested, allow for commercial, allow for them to be able to bring it to a drop site. The accountability piece can be back to our flood inundation maps. So we need an audit process. I get that. That's in the congressional rules. It's not something the president can waive. But you could tie it back to, if you allowed commercial, we could use our flood inundation maps to say this property was impacted, and the monitor can simply check it back against the address. That's the checks and balances. So there's ways, I think, at least in my layman's understanding of this, of trying to speed up this process, make it to where we can get more commercial people involved, and we could even try to get them certified through the FEMA monitors. And that's the accountability piece that I think they're looking for. So there's other pieces that we requested in this. The transitional housing, I'm sorry, that's turned on, but the permanent housing is not. Is that correct?
So FEMA will determine how much money they can provide to people for what their needs are. So yeah, not all of the programs are turned on yet.
So-
That's where collecting that and people registering for the IA helps inform them what the need is in the community.
So those are those more long-term things that as people apply for money will allow some of these additional programs to get turned on. But I know there's been a lot of concern about the debris. I wanted to address that. I wanted to explain that. Each community has their own plan, and they're doing it, and they're doing it quickly. But the volume is just, and the lack of certified contractors down in the beach communities especially, but also others, is making it a Herculean effort to try to deal with the volume. So I know you have questions, so I'll shut up with that and answer any questions you have.
Okay, and I just wanted to add one thing before we go to questions. The staff at the EOC and all our department heads have just been, 20-some days now, and they have just done an amazing job. And the crises that come up that we will never hear about, that will never be front-facing, the press will never report on, they did really heroic things. So when the water was turned off, and I may have my numbers wrong, but when the water was turned off in St. Petersburg and we had no notice that the water was being turned off, a whole group of them went into action to get pumper trucks of water from all over the state to come in and make sure that those hospitals had water, because patients can't operate without water. And they had to arrange, 11,000 ambulances to be able to come in and move all those patients if we had to. Now imagine how frantically they all had to work to make all of this happen when all of a sudden you're told there's no water to 5 hospitals, 22 ALFs, and 7 dialysis centers. And we had to make sure that those patients came first because they were the most vulnerable, right in the middle of the worst of the storm. And they all came to action and did amazing things. And these are things nobody ever hears about. And this is the kind of stuff that was going on every single hour, every single 15 minutes. Something like this kept coming up, and they all were amazing and heroic in the way they worked together collaboratively to make sure that everything was going to be taken care of. And there are just not words that can express the gratitude of the level of heroism that they all stood up for that nobody knows about, that's never going to make the news. They did amazing things, and there is no way that we could ever recognize and thank them enough. So I just wanted to get that out. Your team is amazing. Our team is amazing. Our directors, our staff, they are amazing. The health department and every other team member that was there, they were amazing. And I just, like I said, there's no way to thank them to the level of courage and heroism that they rose to in the last 2 weeks. So now we can go to questions.
Thank you for saying that, Commissioner.
Commissioner Latvala.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I wanted to echo what Commissioner Peters said. There's no doubt, Kathy, that your pleas during press conferences saved lives of our residents. And at times you were emotional, and it was heartfelt. And you, along with the sheriff and Barry and others, literally saved lives of our residents and our constituents. And for that, I thank you. I have questions on a wide range of subjects. The first one, Barry, have we heard back from FEMA or the administration on our letter?
Not on the additional programs that we have requested. I know they're working on it, and and I know Commissioner Peters, had a discussion with the president, and we were working. We had direct conversations with the person that handles the FEMA activities in the White House. Very knowledgeable on the issues and the plight we're in, and even on our beaches and some of the issues with our beaches. So I know they're aware of it, but we have not heard back. We're certainly in anticipation.
And to go back to what Commissioner Peters said, there were times when I had requests. There's mobile home in my district that may not have been a mobile home park that may not have been doing things that they should have been doing that the county responded to. There were other constituent issues that I had the past couple weeks that the county responded to immediately that I wanted to publicly thank y'all for. If I'm correct, if the county did not, after Helene, if the county did not follow all of the FEMA requirements that the federal government and FEMA set out, we would be on the hook. We would not be able to be eligible for that reimbursement, and we would be on the hook for potentially hundreds of millions of dollars ourselves that our residents would be on the hook for. Is that correct?
Yes, we have to follow the FEMA rules for reimbursement under the program guidelines. I don't know the exact figure.
Okay, but it could potentially be in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
It could be.
Okay.
And Commissioner, so one of the things that we did, and you heard the county administrator allude to it, so we brought in a contractor to help not only us, but our 24 municipalities navigate this very complex FEMA system, to really help them with all that documentation, helping us to know what letters to write, what to ask for, the timing for everything. Because it is important for all of us to make sure that us as an entire county are able to get through this and not be deobligated potentially millions and millions of dollars years from now. So it's really critical to us, and those contractors are reaching out. We're working with all of our municipalities. So we want to make sure that everybody does everything they can. The state has also encouraging all of us to put in for expedited funding. So wherever we can, especially for some of our fiscally constrained areas, be able to get them money as quickly as possible.
If I can, Commissioner, and I know you kind of, the concerns. First, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our governor and the president for turning on these programs, because both at the federal level and at the state level have been very responsive. We have a FEMA representative right in our EOC. We have Department of Environmental Management, okay, right in our EOC. Kevin Guthrie has been in our EOC. So they both have been extremely responsive in getting us needs. The rules that are in place have been in place for years. And they go back to, what I was talking about of how they set these. Many of them are baked into congressional acts. Sure. And so there is no question that I look forward to an after-action review to talk about this process. But I don't want to go. I don't want it to only talk about that and not talk about that how people have been responsive. And I do want to clarify one additional thing, and I'm sorry because I know you have questions. But, the governor come and started a debris site at our landfill, okay? And so it's not up in the landfill. It's at It's at a field within our landfill. But he did that under a different set of rules because you had an oncoming hurricane, and it's to preserve life. So it's a limited scope. And they were able, with the National Guard, to clear a lot of the debris off of Gulf Boulevard, which is where they had authority along Gulf Boulevard, not out in the neighborhoods. So that site is separate. It follows kind of different rules because people are wanting to come back to the landfill. And again, that's not the setup process for debris management. And so that's been confusing for people too.
Yeah, no, and I certainly appreciate everything the governor has done, everything that Mr. Guthrie has done. The reason why I asked that question is usually debris can take weeks and months to pick up. In Bay County, for instance, and other Lee County. We had, I think, between storms, 13 days, if I'm not mistaken. And so it
They all
was
run
an
together.
impossible task to begin with.
Yes.
And so that's why I asked that question for, and so when you couple that with some of the regulations that we were tasked with, it was an impossible task to begin with.
Commissioner, can I just add one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Most of the county had 13 days. The Barrier Islands only had 10 because they couldn't get back to the Barrier Islands for more than 3 days.
Right.
Just to add that in.
Yes, ma'am. Who establishes the flood zones? Is that FEMA or is that us?
Those are FEMA flood maps. So, and they're different than the evacuation zones.
Okay.
So I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Okay, so there's a case in Clearwater in my district where a large apartment complex flooded, the Standard, on Drew and 19. I believe they were in the evacuation zone D, or zone D. But if you drive by there, they slope down from across the street. And so when we have, when y'all determine who gets evacuated, you do it based on the storm surge, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So that's why a place like that wouldn't be necessarily evacuated.
Correct. So what we looked at is, so the information that we got from the National Hurricane Center with the amount of surge they told us we were going to get, we looked at where those surge were, and that was our A through C zone for this particular storm. So the issue for them, unfortunately, it was probably 20 inches of rain that fell within their area. The FEMA flood maps are completely separate from that, and I'm sure Lisa Foster can come in and explain that better, so.
But if you take that, you've got areas, like you said, Commissioner, that were not in an evac zone or anything. It's not just 20 inches of rain. Then you would think at most you have 20 inches of water. It's the area that drains to the lowest points without sufficient stormwater, and when they were built under older stormwater regulations, not to today's standards.
Right, and that leads me to the next question. So there were, and I'm sure y'all know, there were areas that have never flooded before that weren't in evacuation zones that flooded because of the sewers. And it's because of the historical rainfall that we have received that have just overwhelmed the sewers. How long do we think that will take for the sewers to get back to the normal?
So you're talking
amount?
storm sewers?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Storm sewer. I don't know the answer to that.
And
I'm
do
sure-
we think
I'm
that
sure it's
there's
kind of
anything that's
it's kind of
blocking the
dependent upon the
sewers?
areas. Well, if you go out on the Barrier Islands, I guarantee that they're full of sand. Okay, we pumped something like, I can't remember how many basins out on Gulf Boulevard trying to get the sand out of there because we know the next storm, there's nowhere for it to go if the storm sewers are full of sand. And 400, we pumped 400 basins trying to get the sand out of there. But so it goes to whether the debris has went into the storm sewer and clogged it, and then it takes time for us to get out and be able to unclog those. And it depends on whether, so yes, it's both the water receding areas that are flooded, and that depends on the storm system. It's going to vary by area, and also whether the storm sewer that is there is properly working and not clogged.
And this will be my last question, Madam Chair, for at least now. You mentioned that there were some contractors that just decided to up and leave during the debris removal process. Is there something in place that those folks will never work in Pinellas County again?
I would hope so, you know.
So we know who they
Oh, yeah, the
are.
cities, they're not ours, they're.
So they
they're-
were just in the cities?
Correct.
Cities, contractors, not ours?
That's correct. And it was a manpower issue, but, you know, this is another issue for after action. Did we have any of ours? Oh, we did. Kelly's correcting me.
Okay.
Not our main contractor, DRC is here, and they're working.
Do we know if those
But even
cities
there,
have-
it's okay, Kelly. Even there, I don't want to get into individual.
Okay, we have like 5 contracts, and so, yes, they are working here, but there were at least one who left.
So,
Did they go to like another county or?
Sure they did, and let me give you what the day's like when you walk into the EOC. And yesterday morning, when I'm informed that the state increased the contract price for their contractor for hauling, and so by increasing it, then guess what? Hillsborough County increased theirs. So we had just got DRC out on contract, or out on site, based upon these contracts, pre-existing, pre-bid contracts, which again complies with FEMA requirements. And so I'm faced with a choice of, do I risk not following suit and have those contractors go somewhere else? Well, if they do, then what am I going to say to our residents that are waiting for that waste to be removed? But yet I can't get a clear answer on how that's going to affect our FEMA reimbursement. In fact, several said that it would put it in jeopardy. Now, then I ask the next question, well, is it the increased amount that's in jeopardy or the entire amount? Again, I get answers that don't make me feel real good, and we're talking tens of millions of dollars. And so we rebid in compliance with things that we have to do that give me the best argument to try to get a reimbursement after this over. But it's unclear on how that's going to work. Those are these minute-by-minute decisions where we have to make. But that kept our contractors on, because I've heard from you all repeatedly, and you say, do what's best for our residents. And that's what I think is best for our residents. But it comes with a risk. But it's things like that that shouldn't occur. I mean, we went through this with Irma. I wasn't here, but I read the after action. I heard our staff talk about that we made sure, because of what happened with Irma is everybody up and down the West Coast had all 4 of the same contractors. Well, if you're a business person, you know, I mean, right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what happened. So we made sure that we didn't have all in the same, but there's other areas that were hit. And so North Carolina and other places, people have opportunities for large contracts. I mean, the reality is the issue of separating out commercial doesn't make sense to me, because you need to respond quickly, and we need, like you have with power companies, where people come from all around the country and convene upon in this massive amount to be able to try to do something. But that same process isn't in place. And the state's following those same rules, you know, and they're adhering to that. So that's a long-winded answer of the challenges that we've had in trying to respond. If we can get some of this, that will help, but that's not the be-all and end-all. We still have to follow, you know, these FEMA rules.
Okay, Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Barry, what was, I think you told me that Bay County's FEMA reimbursement after Hurricane Ian was like, what, 300 million or something?
It was over $300 million.
And they're like the third the size of ours?
Correct.
So we're talking like huge dollars here.
It could be. I don't know how many structures were impacted up there.
Right.
You know, pretty much that whole county was wiped out. So, but to answer your question, we're talking real money.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure we don't have the answer to this question right now, but at some point, once we get this all behind us, I'd be real curious as with all the debris that we're putting in that landfill, what we're shortening the lifespan of that landfill by.
Well, we haven't put any debris in the landfill.
We haven't, we're just piling it up right now?
It's being piled up in a field, and I'm hoping when the state leaves, they take it with them. But I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, well, let's encourage them to take it with them then. Have we had an opportunity yet to evaluate the state of the beaches?
Kelly was out yesterday. I have not, I don't want to bring her up because I haven't heard what that response was. But she's been out there. That's the first time that we've really had a chance to get out.
I mean, we know there's a lot of sand gone. We know where it went.
Yeah, we would like for people to put it back on the beach, but they're putting it on Gulf Boulevard,
Right.
okay, which is a whole different issue. But remember, we collect a lot with the state, and we're going to, and with time, we're going to sift that sand, and we're going to place it back on the beach.
Yeah.
So some of it will go back, but there are whole sections where there is no beach, where there used to be a beach, and the water's all the way up to the seawall. So we are going to require a reevaluation, and we're going to have to work with them. And that's one of the things I said is, you know, I hate to be encouraged because I've been encouraged to only to be let down many times on our beach issues over the past several years. But we certainly had people in high places understanding the plight of them and actually specifically say names of people that we've been working with that they want to get us together and try to find a resolution. So we're hopeful we can make progress with that. But yes, it's going to require reevaluation. But, you know, for any, I mean, you know, for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the hotels are okay. They're coming back online. There are beaches there. They will be cleaned up. And so, you know, for the tourism piece, there will be a piece. It's going to be different, sure, but they'll be back up and running, and we'll be back by tourism season in many areas, not all areas.
Right, right. Do we anticipate, because of the flash flooding that occurred here, for future events, do we think the evacuation zones might change?
Evacuation zones are strictly based on storm surge. What we have done in the past, and I think we did communicate this time, so low-lying areas, areas that are prone to flooding, those people can evacuate as well. The problem is it's really hard for us to pinpoint where exactly that rain is going to fall.
We had two very different events, and I think it's a point well taken, and we can probably look at our messaging and how we do that, because we are very adept at storm surge and wind, right? Mobile home parks, low-lying areas, okay, so we have our evacuation zones. To your point, I don't think we have a message for when we're going to get 19 inches of rain inside of a 24-hour period, and about 4 to 6 inches, 7 inches, something like that, inside of about a 5-hour period. Right. That was a massive, massive amount that impacted properties that you know, we probably could message more on that piece. But those are going to be, it's going to be dependent on where the rain dumps on. Right. And so it's going to be different down in St. Pete than it is in Palm Harbor.
Right, right. Yeah, my office flooded twice. Debbie and Milton, right? Yeah. My house flooded in Helene. So wherever I go, I'm surrounded by water, right? And then my last question, I've been asked by several homeowners that want to pull their own permits to kind of get, you know, contractors lined up and sort of speed the process. Is there a place that they can go to where they have questions about, they've never done that process before? Is it something we can put on you know, Pinellas.disaster, of some instructions of how they can do that?
Well, they can, I mean, our county permit department will be open tomorrow. I will tell you, we're resource constrained because we're doing damage assessment and substantial damage inspections. And so we have to manage both somehow, because there's people that were waiting for permits that were not impacted by the storms that are expecting us to process permits. So please be patient. We're trying to do the best we can for both, but we absolutely understand that people are in the queue and they need help. But people can. The only concern that I have is on the substantial damage inspections. If that triggers a different threshold of whether or not they rebuild or not. And that's something that we're going to have to review.
And we'll be happy to put any and all information on our website, and it's very helpful for us to hear what the constituents are asking you as well, so we can make sure that we're getting that information up front and center.
We can put that on, but since we're talking about globally and people look to us, remember, we do permitting for unincorporated areas and our 7 contract communities. If you're in a city, it would go through your local city building department.
Yeah, the ones that have been asking me are definitely unincorporated, but. Okay, thank you, Madam.
Okay, I'm going to go to Commissioner Flowers and then to Commissioner Eggers. Commissioner Flowers?
Okay, I didn't want to skip anyone. So I concur with my colleagues for the professionalism and sincerity of everyone at the EOC Center. Even Tom, when he dropped my salsa and stuff in the hallway that I brought for snacks for everybody. I still love you. I just had to say that. That did happen, you guys. But I just have a couple of questions or maybe comments. You may or may not know the answer to them. But, you know, all of us get calls from people. So one is, I've gotten a couple of calls yesterday, texts this morning about persons going in to apply for the FEMA $750 amount. But then when it comes to the income part, because they're apparently, I haven't gone in, so I don't know. But apparently it asks you for like your routing information to your bank and all of that. But then it asks you about your income. And so then persons put in what their salary is. And then it tells them they're not eligible. So I don't know the process and procedure and all that stuff. I can see where maybe the salary that you may be making looks like big money, but when you have a concern like what we've just had with 2 storms back to back, you know, you get paid every 2 weeks. You don't get that all at one lump time. So you may not have, your salary says one thing, but you don't have it. So I don't know if any questions or anything can be asked around that. I don't know, you know, what the income guidelines are. And that was the other concern. If a certain financial threshold will make you not eligible, then they need to say that rather than you can apply, you know, up for $750, whatever. Because people just hear that they can apply for that. And then when they don't qualify, whatever. So I don't know if, you know, what can be done, but I'm sending people, you know, to the site that you recommend, that in the FEMA site, and then we have a FEMA place, you know, a person in place, they go in, and the same thing, so.
Yeah, so the Disaster Resource Center that we have at the Botanical Gardens, there are people there that someone can sit and have a more in-depth conversation. What we hear too is sometimes people get denied because they haven't put all the information, so they might get a denial letter from FEMA. So they just need to gather their documents and bring them in for an appeal. I'm not aware of an income limitation because I've heard of other people in other situations. So it's based on that serious need, but I would have them go to the Disaster Recovery Center at the Botanical Gardens. And then I've heard that we're trying to get maybe 1 or 2 more of those sites, or we can have more people that can help people. So as soon as we know if those are coming online, we'll make that available.
Okay.
I also want to add, both Congresswoman Castor and Congresswoman Luna said that if anyone gets denied, to contact their office and they would help them through it.
Thank you. I didn't know that, so I will refer, because I was at an event yesterday that it started at 9, I got there at 10. I didn't finish up until 8 last night with people coming in, so. The other question I have is, through that disaster number, are there also resources for additional tarps? I had a couple of people reach out because, you know, a tree fell on their house or whatever the case may have been. So they were finally able to get that taken care of, but now you have like a big hole. So there were a number of organizations that were handing out tarps because I participated, and they were being taken by people and, you know, doing them appropriately. But then yesterday I did get quite a few calls about tarps. I know we have the tarp, that company or whatever the name is. I'm sorry, I can't remember it right now. But are there additional resources?
Yeah, so people can go to our points of distribution sites and then also those multi-agency resource centers that we're setting up. So at all of those locations, right now we have Gulfport and Treasure Island, I believe, are the two pods that we have open, but then we have the other sites open, and again, you can go to the website to find those. But we do have water tarps, cleaning kits, meals ready to eat, PPE, and storage totes, so people can put their belongings inside of those. And Commissioner, and all of the commissioners, please, if you hear of a neighborhood or an area in need that we can get things out to, again, we're having daily calls with all of our municipalities and our special fire districts. We've got the teams that are going out, Red Cross is going out. So if there's areas that we need to help get resources out to, we can. I need to follow up on the Army Corps, the Blue Roof program. I don't think I've
That's what I
heard
was
much
thinking,
about
yeah.
that. So let me follow up on that, and then we'll get the information out to you if we hear that that's been turned on.
Okay. And then the last thing, because I have a notebook full, but I'm not going to take up all the time here. But the last thing I do have is a lot of resources have gone out through social media, TV, and all of that stuff. But you guys are so correct. People don't have power, so they don't get internet, they don't get TV, they don't have access to social media, so they don't get the information. They may hear about it after the fact, word of mouth, and then by the time they get there, like a event I was at yesterday, when persons heard about it, we were getting ready to wrap up, which is why we stayed open later, because they don't have access. So I'm thankful that I was put in touch with someone to see about hotspot sites, that's what I'm gonna call them.
Yeah.
Hotspot sites, so that maybe persons could have at least some type of access to be able to hear. Until Spectrum gets people back up, they're getting some of the people, some of the services I'm hearing are coming back online, but for some others aren't. So I had not, and I was gonna check back with the person I spoke to from Spectrum, but I had not heard back about that. So I don't know if you have any updated information about any Spectrum, AT&T, or anybody like that creating those hotspots. I did talk with Barry. He told me about who to contact to put it in the WebSCO so it can be in the queue for services. I do appreciate that, and this is nothing on any of you in this room, and I'm sure y'all probably feel the same way. But folks don't want to hear that I need to contact the person in this city to get it into WebSCO so it could be in the queue so that then somebody can respond. This is not on any of you all. So it just made it a little convoluted and a little frustrating because, you know, community residents call us as electeds. We only have so much authority, if you will, but we go through the proper channels, you know, to put it in and to go through all of that. But by the time you get through all of that, you know, the person is still missing out on the communications. This is nothing on you, please. Nothing on the county, nothing on the EOC, nothing on the employees. Just an observation that, you know, you get a call from a utility provider. They're willing to provide the service, but then they get told no. And then one entity reached back out to me who was willing to come out, and they told me they couldn't because the word they used was hijacked. They said the state hijacked their resources, and so they were sent somewhere else. As a matter of fact, it was sent to Hillsborough. Over in the Riverview area, the Riverview area. And so it was just kind of disappointing because now you still have large swaths of people who, because the poles have fallen or whatever the case may be, they're not able to get the communications that are available to them, you know, and they can't go on disaster unless they go outside and try and catch a signal. I've done that for almost 14 days, have to drive so far to try and catch a signal. So I'm just sharing that, and if you could share that with the powers that be.
And I appreciate, so again, please let us know where those hotspots are. And then, so through our voluntary organizations active in disaster, we also work with a large network of our faith-based providers. I know Foundation for Healthy St. Pete and the Urban League had a call the other night. So the more that we can do to identify any of these pockets, please let us know. You guys can send that to my email directly, and then we'll coordinate, you know, to get people out there. You know, we do have some comms equipment that you guys have helped us purchase. So if there's communities in need, we can look at, you know, trying to get things set up out there.
I was trying not to bother. I was harassing
No, don't bother.
Barry.
It's not a bother.
I was
That's what we're here for.
harassing Barry.
That's what we're here for.
I harassed him, so I'm glad somebody took my call, so, but you're good. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Eggers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I'm just, I'll try to, when I get to certain things that have already been talked about, I'll just say something for emphasis and then move on so I don't repeat ourselves too much. But I did want to thank Commissioner Peters, Commissioner Latvala for your comments today about our employees, and to Barry's comment earlier about our employees are stepping up big time because our residents are suffering big time. And so it's a critical thing that we're doing, and I couldn't be more proud, just out dealing with dealing with is the wrong way, but just bumping into some of our public works folks that are out on the road doing the debris pickup was they're happy, they're professional, they're doing their jobs, they're almost honored to be doing this work for the residents. So I just, and yet, we still got a long way to go, as you said. So patience, I think perspective is important. I tried to make that comment yesterday to a couple of people, our communications folks, that say we have over 1 million cubic yards of product on the ground. Well, that normally takes a while to get up, and we're going to be at it for a while. And it may mean a month from now or 2 months from now. And I'll get into that in just a minute. But Kathy, disaster.pinellas.gov has all the information on all of this stuff that we're talking about, I'm assuming. Everything that you can go to that site and get information across the board. I mean, because there's just so much stuff flying around. So if people can just remember that, they can get to a lot.
That's the best source, Commissioner. There may be other things that are happening
Yeah.
we don't know about, but that's the best source to go, or call the county information.
With a thing, yeah, or the 464-4333 number. Those two things, just keep those things in mind. Like the points of distribution sites, they're on there as well.
Yes, and then what we've been doing is, so we've been moving those around based on need. So we actually had one, I think, in Reddington Beach, and the demand for that had basically dropped down, so we closed that one down. But if there are other pockets or other need, again, you guys communicating to that, or any of our community partners communicating that to us, we'll work to get something set up.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where this conversation falls, but it is a major concern on this rebuild of housing, where it exceeds 50% of the cost of the home, and the cost of the home does not include the land. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. So you've got folks that have been living in areas for decades that, because of something, and I want to make sure I'm clear on that. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be done today, but they're going to have to move, and so we're going to have a migration of folks. And if it's just to protect our rating, that's really good. I think we just have to have that conversation, just so I understand that trade-off. It's like, well, too bad, that's what it is. No, to the extent that we can have conversation, understand the trade-offs and the ramifications for our residents, it's huge.
And Commissioners, we had this conversation on the call with the city managers yesterday. We're going to put together a white paper that outlines this, and it's really not just the Board of County Commissioners, it's the Board of County Commissioners and the elected officials and all of our cities impacted by this flood, because they are their own governing body regarding those particular issues and the regulations that they have. So we need to have that conversation, and it's a tough issue.
It is.
And we want to understand all the ramifications, and we also want to understand lessons learned from those that did something else down in Fort Myer and what they experienced. So we have kind of the full picture. But first, let us get our substantial damage determinations completed. Then we can at least see what we're talking about. And let us get that white paper. And then let's come together as a community of Pinellas County communities and have that conversation.
I think the lessons learned from other areas is going to be an important part to that, because what I see happening is just certain money pockets coming in and scarfing up property, and doing it. I mean, I'm not saying illegally. I'm just saying because they can't afford to rebuild, they have to sell. And so I just want to
there's money that's available through those efforts and has occurred. Okay, it requires congressional acts, it requires federal funding, but we want to also explain where that's occurred, of what type of funding's been made available. and how that money came to be and how long that took. And so there's a lot of different fingers to this to get that complete picture.
Understand, and the more we understand and educate our residents,
So we're simultaneous with the recovery, we're also building what we know will be a big public policy discussion, and we're building that framework to have that type of discussion.
Move quick just over to debris for a minute. I'm glad that's a major focus. I'm glad they're out there today doing their thing.
So am I.
We got something from communications yesterday based on Public Works input, based on our contract input, and they're out there doing their thing and communicating to residents where they're going. And, you know, it's going to take a while. I went out to meet with somebody yesterday, and he had this pile in his front yard. And I said, so how long do you think it's going to take to get that pile up? And he said, I have no idea. I said, that's the difficulty in anticipating how long we're going to be in an area. What I did ask, you know, just in conversation, that let's make sure we get that first pass done for a large area before we go back and do second passes.
We are.
Yeah, I understand. That wasn't originally we were going past second pass and then moving on. There was that discussion. So I just want to, and that's good. I'm glad we're not doing that. That's going to be a big help because there are residents that haven't seen anybody at all, you know, in terms of picking up stuff. Yesterday, I was complaining to somebody, probably Kelly, bless her heart, she's taken so many of my calls, I appreciate it. And I went up to Indian Bluff, is that right? And I was complaining and just pulled right in front of me, and it was one of our dump trucks going out to Indian Bluff. I said, well, they're really coming out there. It was like almost instantaneous, and they were picking up vegetative debris.
Right.
It was our folks' vegetative debris. And some of the residents were saying, well, why are you wasting your time on that first? I said, well, we've got two efforts going.
Correct.
One for that and one for the other. So it takes time. I know that, you know, I had a whole driveway full of debris that I picked up and put out there, and I said, it's going to be here for months. And our HOA decided to hire a private hauler.
Right.
And it was gone that afternoon. And when you come back to a community like that, it's refreshing. That's what our residents are desperately needing. So I'm glad we're making this an extreme focus to the extent that we can get those folks at the state level, at FEMA, to give more flexibility. I cannot believe we do not have a form that's been made so that if we come to, you know, Chris's house out on Indian Bluff, for instance, that he just signs an affidavit, address, he signs it, and that private hauler can take it to our site. It just makes no sense to me at all why that's not developed, why there isn't a way to expedite that process. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. And because they're doing the same work, picking up the same stuff, delivering to the same place. And I don't care about some of the people that are crooks, but let's get them and put them in jail and take them out, you know. But I'm talking about the good people that are doing work for our residents. It's just, and I'm just reiterating what I'm hearing.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, left and right. So, residential waste is different. You were talking about the commercial waste, which has its own challenges.
Correct.
But this is all residential, private hauler residential waste removal, and it makes a big difference. And then I would just say, you know, permitting is going to be just huge, and it's coming. I got called by a couple of contractors last week talking about, well, how do we get this thing fast tracking? How do we get this, if you only had 6 inches of water in the house, you're not up to the electrical thing, what do we do about that? And how can we get going on some of this stuff? Other counties, this is their saying, other counties are moving further along, faster along. And I just said, our folks are doing it as fast as they can, as responsibly as they can. But I think that permitting thing is right on the horizon.
And we've requested 80 additional inspectors, 80 additional inspectors that we're going to try to share with our municipalities that will go to that. But I will assure you that I talked to my counterparts in Pasco and Hillsborough, and people tell them up there that we're doing it quicker and that, you know, so I understand the frustration, and we want to speed that along also.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. And I'm glad to hear what you were kind of alluding to at the end when you were talking about our beaches and the Army Corps and the stalling and you know, that maybe some of that will work its way through a little better.
Yeah, I don't know. I certainly am hopeful.
I don't know what, if this doesn't, if all of the other efforts going into that bureaucratic organization doesn't have any effect, and a storm like this doesn't have any effect to move people to do the right thing, there's something that's broken,
The Corps,
big time broken.
The Corps does speak with its own
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, I mean, yes, you know, and we hear the concerns. We're, part of it is people are going to want things now. Part is, some of that's going to be a resource issue. Like I said, we've requested 80 additional staff. But when am I going to get them? You know, luckily, if you recall, you know, a couple of years ago, you approved some private contracts, and that we can do online. I mean, we can outsource some of our work and things like that. We've been testing that and utilizing that. That'll make it easier for us to do things remotely, you know, with other private companies. But we still have to have boots on the ground, and these substantial damage determinations are part of the same group of people. And so we're trying to do that, and we're trying to support our cities who are going to have just as big a challenge as the unincorporated areas, or even bigger, especially down in the Gulf communities.
Yeah, that debris contract thing is just, you know, our county is having one contract would have a lot of power. When we split it up like we do, it really starts to diffuse that power a little bit, because we have 24 cities that make up a third of the county. You have St. Pete that makes up a third of the, you know, roughly, and so you start to lose out on some of those to bigger things. And I'm assuming at some point, Barry will start to take a look at, you know, sales tax, property tax hits that we're going to see, not only directly and maybe after the first of the year on reassessment of properties and that kind of thing. But
we will. That's going to be another issue, and because you have to follow the property appraiser's process.
Right.
There's a lag in that
January 1.
catch-up.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that won't make folks happy, but.
January 1's a month away, 2 months away, 3 months away.
But that's for the preceding year, and so
Yeah. No, I understand.
there's
I
a
understand.
lag in that catch-up when they appeal. So yes, we will have to look at those things.
Well, again, final thank you to all of our staff, just unbelievable. And to your point, Chair, we're not going to be able to thank them all the proper way and the proper, you know, but our first responders, Duke Energy, and all of the people that have come in on that front, chipping away at a massive, massive problem. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Commissioner Justice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not sure where a lot of this has been covered, but on the debris, we have, the county has 3 sites for collection of the debris. Is that accurate?
We have 2 sites. Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, we've, 2 drop-off sites. We also converted Toy Town, and then we also have the sod farm. What are we taking at the sod farm? Just from there.
Could you come to a
Okay.
microphone, Kelly?
It's 2, for residence purposes, it's 2 sites. So it's at ICOT, and it's at Keystone and Eastlake.
And then for our contractor who's going out and collecting in the unincorporated areas, where are they taking it?
Right now it's Sod Farm, and we have a section of Toy Town allocated as well, because that Sod Farm will get too full.
That's for our contractors.
And is there an opportunity where, you know, the governor marshaled all those trucks to come in before the hurricane? Is there an opportunity for us to have maybe not that same level of surge, but a surge of assistance from other counties or other, you know?
We would welcome any additional assistance, you know, that would be provided. But again, it's got to follow that process, and it's got to go through one of these drop sites.
Right, that's what I was asking about the drop site. If we had the facility to handle it, it's the going out and getting it.
Correct. Those are debris contractors, and there's simply not enough. And each city has their own contract, so they're dealing with it. The way Treasure Island's dealing with it is different than how St. Pete is dealing with it, different than Indian Rocks Beach.
Yeah, I think St. Pete went out and is hiring anyone with a truck.
Correct. And that's probably not reimbursable. And so they're taking that risk and taking that cost on their own by doing that. And that's the problem. One of the requests is that we could use, if they would combine the residential and the commercial, in other words, get rid of the accountability piece back to individual property, you could handle any of those dumpster callers, coming to a site and dropping it. Remember, if it's not that they don't have a place to take it. They do have a place to take it. There's 3 different C&D drop sites in the county. The lines were long, okay, because they were all going there, and they charged to be able to dump that. But that's the reason that commercial is considered an insurance issue, and they're probably charging that entity back for that drop fee or that transfer station fee. And so they want to go to the free sites. I understand that. I'd like to declog that, and then it would be kind of dispersed more. But that's the current process between the difference between commercial and residential.
Sure. I'll yield my time.
No, just for a second. No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask, you were right on that hauler stuff. And so private haulers have an issue, but residential people can go to that site at East Lake and Keystone.
Right, incorporated
Now, we had
residents?
talked
Yes.
about the workaround. Is that working where a resident can go with a private hauler and saying?
If they're with them.
That's what I'm
yes.
saying.
Yes.
So that is a way. I know they don't necessarily want to see their product anymore.
Correct.
But they could potentially
Correct.
get in the front seat with the person that's come to their place and that they're accepting.
That's correct.
Isn't that just, an affidavit would just do away with that if you did, but anyway, thank you.
I'll reclaim my time. And did I hear you correctly? I know I'm jumping around because I've been making notes. The 50%, the rebuild after that, we were talking about that the city would make a decision on that versus the county, or how?
It's a multi-layer process. I want to clearly outline all of that before I even get into it, because I don't want to say something incorrectly.
Fair enough.
I have a lot of questions of my own. I want to be accurate before I start discussing that.
Duke just tweeted that they were down to 50,000 in the entire service area. Of course, 40,000 of those are in Pinellas County, including me. I don't know, Barry, I had a bunch of questions, but I've kind of lost track of that. Let me simply add my thanks to the staff over the last week. I've tried not to send it to Barry. I've tried to farm it out to whoever I thought the area expert, issue expert was on that, and the staff has been incredible about responding. Karen with an area, Matt with an area. Barbara made sure that there's a pocket in there of unincorporated that kind of gets lost sometimes between Gulfport and Pasadena. That area had people missioned in there. It's just that part of seeing people's response. Everyone out in the community, for the most part, have been we all had this shared experience, this shared trauma, and have been coming together. In my neighborhood, it's neighbors coming out and picking up each other's stuff. I had my gate blow off on my fence. My neighbor across the street just came over with his tools and he just fixed it. He says, "I'm fixing your gate." So we went back over and we hauled his limbs away. So it's just, no. He's not leaving my neighborhood. But that part of seeing folks really respond has been, that kind of silver lining that we talk about sometimes. But again, let me add my thanks to everyone that on our staff. And that was the other question I was going to ask. Now that I circled back around, is our county facilities. I thought I read that Drew Street took on some water, but I hadn't seen anything further about overall our county facilities.
So our county facilities are up and operating. They'll be ready for tomorrow. We have issues and we have damage, but nothing. And so there's some isolated, like this building. We'll have to work with that department on moving stuff over, and stuff. But as a facilities, we're able to reopen. And so we had a meeting yesterday with all the appointing authorities, and Bill went through all of our various facilities. 315, for instance, you got some damage on the roof. They had to clean up water. They have to take some tiles off, but it's safe, okay? And so they've repaired it for us open. They'll have to follow up on roof repairs and things like that, but it's safe for us to reopen.
Very good. I think that was it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Commissioner Long, do you have any questions or comments?
I have a comment, but I was going to save it for miscellaneous.
Okay, all right. Well, then you can save that. Okay, I think all the questions have been asked, and the question on the 50% is a big one, so any information you have on that would be wonderful. But other than that, no, I think I made my comments earlier. Again, I want to thank the staff. I want to thank the people in Pinellas County that have been so wonderful and helpful and kind and helping each other. It's been great and very uplifting. The kindness has been just, yeah. But, and Kathy, you've done an outstanding job. I mean, there's just so much. But I think it's time that we move on to the next
Kathy.
items on our agenda. And if I could pull them up, I would be much more prepared. So I think we're going on to number 35 with the airport.
Yep, item 35 is interlocal agreement with the Sheriff's Office for our airport.
Okay, we got a motion from Commissioner Flowers, a second from Commissioner Eggers. Sorry, Commissioner Scott, I think you were in there too. Any other questions or discussion? No? If the clerk could bring up the voting cards, members vote. And that passes unanimously. We'll go on to number 36.
This is change order number 1. This is regarding our kennel replacement project. They added some additional HVAC and things and some delays in construction cost increases for the project.
Questions or discussion? Commissioner Scott and then Commissioner Eggers.
That's almost a 22% increase. It's
Yep.
just a lot. I mean, is it-
I wasn't happy about it either. Most of the cost associated with is for the HVAC. There was a heavier HVAC process that wasn't built into that original design. The delays I'm not really buying, but because of the delay and when the projects come online, there were cost increases in the bid amounts for the equipment. So the combination, brought it up to that, but it is what it is.
Commissioner Eggers.
Yeah, it was the specking of the original air conditioning versus what, I mean, obviously that was a miss, but yeah, I was concerned about that.
We're going to make sure Bill doesn't, make sure this doesn't happen again. So, he's too new to hold him accountable for this one.
Oh, darn it. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Got a motion from Commissioner Scott and a second from Commissioner Eggers. If the clerk could bring up the voting card, members vote. That passes unanimously. We're going to move on to number 37.
This change order is regarding the retainage. This is for the courts consolidation project, and so they're just lowering down the retainage, and they're keeping a lower amount until the punch list items are complete.
Okay. Question, Commissioner Scott?
So are we bringing it down to $200,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. We had a motion from Commissioner Flowers.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Scott. Any more questions or discussion? Seeing none, if the clerk could bring up the voting card and members vote. Thank you. We're going to move, that passes, we're waiting on somebody. Thank you, that passes unanimously. We're going to move on to number 38.
This is solid waste revenue bonds for a recycling transfer station in Largo.
Any questions or discussion? Commissioner Scott?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there any fiscal impact to the county on this?
No.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion?
No approval?
A motion from Commissioner Long, a second from Commissioner Scott. If the clerk could bring up the voting cards and members vote. And that passes unanimous. We'll move on to number 39.
It's funding recommendation for the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Trust Fund Program. Small amount, and they've outlined the details within your packet.
Any questions, discussion? Entertain a motion?
Move approval.
Okay, we've got a question from Commissioner Flowers.
Yes, I'm still going to support it, but on here it did have the unallocated amount that'll roll over until the next year. Is it that we only funded them what they asked for, or did we fund anyone under what they asked for, and we could have used these dollars? The additional funds, it was,
Karen's coming up
I
to
think,
answer your question.
$2,851.51 is not a ton of money.
Good afternoon, Karen Yacho, Human Services Director. It was a small amount, so we had 4 applicants. We funded all 4, so we would roll it to next year's process.
No, what I was asking was, is it that we only funded them what they asked for, and so that little 2,000 and change was left over, or is it anyone on this list that asked for a little bit more, but they were not funded?
My understanding is we were able to fund them what they asked for.
Exactly what they asked for, okay. Because I was just gonna say, if it was anyone who asked for and we didn't fund them, we should consider, because it's only $2,000. Well, not only, but it's $2,000. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a motion from Commissioner Scott,
A second. Yeah.
second from Commissioner Flowers. If the clerk could bring up the voting card, members vote. That passes unanimous. And we're going to move on to number 40.
This is our funding agreement with Baycare for our county health program. You can see that they're a large part of our overall program where we fund $3 million. This is just over $2 million of that program.
Okay, any questions or discussion? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Scott, second from Commissioner Flowers. If clerk could pull up the voting cards and members vote. And that passes unanimous, and we're going to move on to number 41.
So grant award for substance abuse and mental, so SAMHSA grant for the treatment of individuals experiencing homelessness. You can see that they partner with the Sheriff's Office, Safe Harbor, Boyd Centers, and personal enrichment through mental health services. This grant is for 5 years, and there's no match.
Any questions or discussion? We got a motion from Commissioner Flowers,
Second.
second from Commissioner Long, and I'm going to keep my comment to myself. Could the clerk bring up the voting card and members vote? I'm not sure we're ready for the humor yet. And that passes unanimously. We'll move on to number 42.
This award of bid to Ajax Paving. This is package number 3 for our pavement 2025 pavement preservation program. And that you can see the targets of these listed within your packet.
Move approval.
Got a motion from Commissioner Long and a question from Commissioner Flowers.
Will any of these be delayed because of the storm? Will any of this be delayed on the time schedule?
Too early to tell.
Okay. And so if anything is delayed, just a question, would this need to come back to us to extend the length of the project?
I don't think so, unless they didn't honor their bid for
Okay.
some reason.
Okay, so- Are you done?
I'm good.
Okay, so I have a motion from Commissioner Long. I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Flowers. If the clerk could bring up the voting card and members vote. That passes unanimously. Number 43.
This is an FDOT grant of $1 million for design activities for Pinellas Trail Loop Phase 5.
Move approval.
Got a motion from Commissioner Long.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Flowers. If the clerk could bring up the voting cards and members vote. Okay. One more. Who are we missing? Janet.
Oh, I do.
And that passes unanimously. We'll go on to number 44.
This is an agreement with E911 Trust Fund money from the state of Florida for our next-gen 911 core services, a little over $1 million.
Any questions or discussion?
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion from Commissioner Flowers, a second from Commissioner Scott. If the clerk would bring up the voting cards and members vote. We're going to move on to number 45. Oh, that we're still missing. Go back. We only had 6 votes on there. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Now we've got that passage unanimously. Thank you. Now we'll go on to 45. I'm sorry, I got ahead of ours.
So this is a change order, but it's not really a change order. This is with our group that's doing the Reclaim Pump Station Improvement Project. This is a very large project. This change order will add the full-time construction management and inspection services for that project. It's all pre-planned, all pre-budgeted, which is done as a change order.
Move approval.
Got a motion from Commissioner Long.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Scott on that one. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, if the clerk could bring up the voting card, members vote. And that passes unanimously. Number 46.
This is adding an exploratory well as part of that project.
Any questions, discussion?
Move approval.
Commissioner Scott?
Looks like there was, where we originally put the well, there was an unstable subsurface condition. So I'm just wondering, have we done any geotechnical tests to make sure where we're going to put it, we're not going to experience the same?
Sounds like a very technical question for a technical person.
And here comes Jeremy with the technical answer.
Jeremy is on his way up.
Good morning, Jeremy Wall, Utilities Director. Yeah, so the original location for this exploratory well, when we dug the pilot hole, a depression formed near and around one of our other buildings. We have done some additional exploration there and grouted the holes, but we have decided to move that location away from our existing buildings, just in case there's something deeper that we can't see. That's why the change order is being requested, is we actually started drilling, had to stop, they had to pull their stuff out and moving, and we're digging a new well. So we're trying to protect the existing buildings that are already there.
Totally understand and appreciate that.
We picked a good
Do we have any
location, but-
concerns that it may, where we're moving it to, the same thing might occur? I guess there's not as much concern if it does, but if it did occur, then what would we do?
So the new location is away from existing buildings. It's a place currently we use to park trucks and things. We may need that sometime in the future, but we are going to put the new well there because it's farther away from all of the existing facilities.
Okay. I think we had a motion from Commissioner Flowers, if I'm correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Second if we don't
And a
have one.
second from Commissioner Scott. If the clerk could bring up the voting cards and members vote. Okay.
I didn't get a thingamabooby.
And what's your vote?
I
There we
pressed
go.
no.
Passes unanimously. We're going to move on to number 47.
This item is a ratification of an emergency approval that I provided for this utilities. This is the new 20-inch force main. In this replaces existing pre-stressed concrete cylinder pipes that's past its useful life. This is where we've had problems. You approved 6 miles of this to be replaced. We had an issue. We did an emergency contract to be able to move that project forward. So this is ratification of that.
We got a question from Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Because we're doing this in an emergency situation, is this going to exceed what our initial cost estimates were?
No, they do get bids on this, but I'll let Jeremy talk about that.
Again, Jeremy, Director of Utilities. So this is the concrete force main that recently broke on 53rd Avenue. We had a CIP project already in place to fix that pipe. We had engineered, designed it, and bid it out to contractors when the pipe broke. So as opposed to waiting for the several months it took to just go through the normal approval process, since we already had a low-cost bidder approved for the project, we expedited the contractor so they could start ordering materials to repair the pipe for the residents. So it just sped up the project by 2 months by doing it this way instead of waiting through the regular process, because we knew that the residents needed immediate assistance.
Well, I'm sure the residents appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? And entertain a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion from Commissioner Scott, a second from Commissioner Justice. If the clerk would bring up the voting card and members vote. And Commissioner Latvella is a yes, so that passes unanimously. Number 48.
Under item 48, I'm asking for authority to initiate litigation in the referenced case. This would be a foreclosure of a special magistrate lien related to a code enforcement action.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
Move approval.
We've got a motion from
Second.
Commissioner Long, second from Commissioner Scott. If the clerk could bring up the voting card and members vote. And that passes unanimous with Commissioner Latvella being a yes. We'll move on to 49.
So under, excuse me, under items 49 through 53, if you all will recall, a few months ago, we alerted you to a dogfighting ring that Pinellas County Animal Services investigated along with the St. Pete Police Department. Those cases referenced there under items, again, 49 through 53, not 54. That's a separate case. Those are all of those cases. You see multiple cases there because there were multiple owners of the dogs. Each of those cases has been, at this time, resolved either voluntarily with the owner or through court action. So we either have custody of the animals, or in one instance, I believe the owner was allowed to keep the animals, but an order was imposed by the court in agreement with that owner that he would provide proper care to the animals and all the other things that, you know, we needed to satisfy ourselves that that action was appropriate. On those cases, again, 49 through 53, I'll take a motion collectively, if you'd like to do it that way, or each case individually. I will also add, we were prepared at your agenda briefing last week to bring in some of the animals so that you could see how things were going, but unfortunately, Milton had different ideas. After seeing everybody's reaction to the sheriff's bloodhounds, we thought that might be fun, but maybe at some point in the future.
Although, actually, I would love it if you'd bring them in anyways.
I think we all need it, don't we?
Well, you know what, I think that people need to know that those dogs are okay, because there's a lot of concern and people worried about the dogs, so I think
We
it'd
had
be
some puppies
wonderful if you
born
bring
from-
them, yes, I think it'd be wonderful if you bring some of those dogs in.
I requested kittens too. I don't know whether we were going to get those or not, but I know Animal Services was prepared.
Okay, so we were looking to.
49 through 53.
49 through 53, I'd look for a motion.
Make a motion for.
Okay, we got a motion
49
from
through
Commissioner
53.
Scott for 49 through 53, and a second by Commissioner Flowers. And if the clerk could bring up the voting cards so members could vote. And Commissioner Lettville is a yes, that passes unanimously. And so we'll go on to number 54.
Under 54, again, this is a ratification of litigation that we have filed. Unfortunately, another animal cruelty case. We're having some issues with this one. We have not been able to effectuate service of process on the individual, probably some storm-related issues, probably some other issues. We're continuing to work on this one. This one was unfortunately one that a veterinarian actually flagged for us. We don't include the photos in these agenda items for a good reason, but this was not a good case. We do have custody of the animal, and again, asking for ratification. I hope to bring this to conclusion at some point soon.
Move approval.
We got a motion from Commissioner Long, a second from Commissioner Eggers. If the clerk could bring up the voting cards and commissioners vote. Commissioner Lettville is, and that's a yes for Commissioner Lettville. It's passes unanimously. And Madam Attorney, have you got any reports?
No reports.
Okay. Mr. Administrator, do you have any more reports?
Yeah, first, just let me start by echoing what Chair Peters said, that, you know, the staff out at the EOC and our ERB and throughout the county, they're just doing amazing work. I liken it to, you know, Shark Tank, where you just got to figure it out, you know, and that's what it is. There's cases that are presented that there is no right or wrong answer. It's in a situation that they have to resolve. I will assure you that in every possible instance of what could have occurred on the night of Milton, with water and power being shut off and evacuations, people had a plan in place, and they worked all night to be prepared that when that wind went down, that they could respond to the most horrific response needed. And people worked literally all night to be able to make, and fortunately, most of that we didn't have to do. But I will tell you, people throughout the EOC had plans to be able to do. And I think it just goes to the credit of the people working, and that's from the sheriff's office to our fire and police to all the people in the EOC and out in Kelly's group and utilities and so many more. It was luckily not as direct of a hit, but it wasn't without real rescues and real needs for response, and people were prepared as they could be. So just a huge credit. I thank you for thanking staff. We're going to come back and talk about that because we do have thank yous and and things that we should do to recognize that. We'll do that at the appropriate time. Now we're in recovery mode, and we need to stay focused around that. But I appreciate your comments. I really appreciate your support, and you guys have been very kind in recognizing the difficult circumstances that we've had in trying to respond to something that, you know, we've never had to do before. I also need to put on the record that the Board of Commissioners will hold the first of 2 public hearings on the proposed resolution to consider the designation of Rainbow Village as a Brownsville area in unincorporated Pinellas County. The first hearing will be held on Tuesday, October 29th, 2024 at 6 p.m. The meeting will be held here in the Palm Room, 333 Chestnut Street, Clearwater, Florida. That's required notice that I just needed to read into the record. You'll have it on your agenda for approval. And again, be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the administrator? No. Okay, I'm going to go straight to the extension of the emergency order, so we get that done.
I approved it yesterday, so that's good for a week. If you're comfortable with that, we don't need that. Or you could approve it, then it would be good till the following Tuesday. So however you want to do it.
If it would give you an extra buffer for us having to come in, we might want to do that so you have till Tuesday instead of Monday.
Either way, I can extend it. Let's see. You won't have a meeting next Tuesday, so I would need to extend it either way.
If you all recall, I think it was a week ago yesterday.
Yeah, it's a week ago.
We had the emergency meeting and we extended the prior local state of emergency for Helene and added in the impending storm, Hurricane Milton. So they're both traveling together now under a single resolution. Because we did that on a Monday, it took us back to Monday for that 7-day period. You did also specifically delegate to the county administrator, notwithstanding your ordinances that are already in place, the ability to extend these. If you all want to try to just do a new one today to make it a Tuesday to Tuesday, we need to draft a new one to get into the record that would adjust the date, but you all could certainly take that action. But Barry does have the authority at this point to sign any of them as they come through, and I'll tell you, my office is getting ready to prep them for many successive weeks because we anticipate needing to, keep some of these emergency powers in place.
And I think we just leave it with Monday if the commission is good with that.
Yeah, and I can extend it.
And that way, every Monday, you have to do that. I've got a question from 2 of you. So Commissioner Eggers, you had a question?
I was going to defer to my elder and be respectful. I know it's going to be a while. Do we have a estimated time period that we're going to be in this emergency period?
Not really. Obviously, the only thing we're really using is emergency procurement. We can probably overcome that with other procurement pieces. But I'd like to extend it a couple of times here, and then we'll have a discussion about how do we come out of that. Because we're doing a lot right now. Sure. But we're not really doing much more other than procurement. There's no regulatory issues like when we shut down the beaches or we shut down the county and the things that I work with the sheriff on. I don't know the answer at this time.
Commissioner Eggers. Commissioner Long.
Well, that last question begs me to say, have you been following this new thing that's surfacing with Nadine? Does anybody have any, I know, I don't mean to bring,
Yeah, it's there. There's nothing at this point to really react to.
Okay. All right. Okay, any other comments on that? So we're going to wait till Monday on that. We're going to let you
I'll just
stay,
extend it.
manage that on Monday, so we won't
Okay.
do a new one, and know that you'll have multiple ones coming ahead of you. Okay, and then what I'll do is then go to commissioners' reports. So I'm going to start on this side today and let Commissioner Flowers start.
Thank you. Prior to the storm, I attended my area agency on aging, Pasco and Pinellas County meeting, and it was a very good meeting. The sad part is there are services that used to be provided by one agency here, Pinellas Opportunity Council, that has offices in St. Pete and I think Clearwater as well. but they will no longer be providing those services when it comes to support for some of the elderly. So we have placed that RFP out for bid, and we are hopeful that we will receive a couple of responses. Not sure how long that's going to take now as we're moving through this process. But I also want to give kudos to the organization for reaching out in advance and trying to help seniors be prepared for the oncoming storm and making sure that those that needed to report to a shelter or what have you, that they did that. So kudos to the organization. I attended the Career Source Hillsborough Pinellas meeting. My colleague, Commissioner Latvala, also attended. We had good conversation on the methodology by which interviews and selection will occur for the new executive director. This time, there were over 11 applications that were forwarded. And so those individuals will be interviewed appropriately. And then the process that we selected was that the board that Commissioner Latvala and I serve on, we also would have an opportunity to interview whomever that last person is to make sure that we have a better connection and a selection process. At our next meeting, we'll be voting on a new incoming chair for the Career Source Hillsborough Pinellas Board that Commissioner Latvala and I both serve on. Our next meeting is December 9th, 10 o'clock in the morning at the SPC Epicenter. I have not received any information. I've looked through my emails when I could. I've not received any information as it relates to any of the resources that we use having been severely impacted or affected as a result of the storm. So I am hopeful that we will receive that as a result of Milton. As a result of Helene, we did have numbers. Over 76% of the businesses that were affected due to Hurricane Helene were from Pinellas, Hillsborough County, so quite a few. But they were working on getting that taken care of. I'll say welcome, I guess, to the new Assistant County Administrator, Blaine Williams. I haven't met the person or seen the person, but thank you, Barry, for sending that.
We haven't announced a start date yet, just because we don't really have temporary housing for him, so we said,
Join the club.
we said hang tight and we'll work together on figuring that out.
Okay,
So.
well, I saw the, I have to get my emails and stuff when I get a spot. So when I was able to, that's when I saw that. So I just thought I'd throw that in for mentioning that little piece of information. Just super kudos. I know we already had our storm update, but super kudos to all of the organizations from the barrier islands all the way back from the churches and whatnot that really stepped up. A couple of churches have opened their doors to allow people to seek shelter there until they can figure out what they're going to do. Restaurants who may have lost power but had food have made that available to nonprofits, who've in turn made that available to the community, setting up feeding lines all over. So I'm really thankful. I'm sure as well as you all have seen just residents, Marianne Renfro and others, just going out, helping to do whatever they can do with whatever equipment they've had to help individuals. And some people have been impacted themselves, but they've come back to help their friends. So I'm just super kudos for that, because just seeing people come together really has done my heart a world of good on all of that. I don't know if some of you have seen some of the damage and whatnot for Eckerd College, because they're right there on the water. But thank you to those families that took in some of those students who did not have time or the resources to get to a hotel or a shelter or whatever. So thank you for those who have taken them in. They really appreciate that, and it's kind of hard. You're a young person, you're here, and you can't get back home or whatever. So just thank you all so very much for doing that. My other committees, other groups that I sat on, they didn't meet, of course, because of the storm, so I don't have any additional reporting. The Homeless Leadership Alliance and the COC was meeting via Zoom as long as they could to try to help those individuals who were homeless to find shelter and make sure that they got to shelter so that they would be safe during the storm. And the last thing I'll say is thank you so much to my colleagues. I know some of you were impacted and affected. So I tried to call in and check on you to see how you were doing, see if it was anything that I could do. I had an extra room. I didn't have any power, but I had an extra room at my house. You're welcome to come over. I had a generator, so I cooked meals. And I did. I put some food on the barbecue grill, and some of the power people were going down my street. And I had grilled some snow crabs and some chicken. I can cook, y'all. And a little salad. And so when I saw those trucks, I ran out and I said, hey, have you all eaten today? Would you like a meal? I got some, some food. They call me Little Big Mama. So anyway, I did that. I made the offer, because I saw a couple of lines when, they were eating Checkers, whatever was open. So I thought it would be nice just to, and I had enough because I was cooking the stuff out of the freezer before it went bad. So all I can say to you is, I don't know if offering the food got my power back on that night.
But it didn't
But
hurt.
what I can tell you is my power was on later that when I got home that night and I saw that the power was on. The power was on my house. I was just like, thank you, Jesus. So anyway, and that's not why, I'm sure, they're working things by grids. And the other thing I want to say is, I know it was difficult, you guys, but just seeing people attempting to be as patient as possible, waiting on their electricity to come, waiting for the water to come back on when it did. Just thank you to the community because so many people lost so much. And they could, their frustration was not anger at us. It was just frustration at their situation. And that's how I tried to look at it. If they were upset and yelling at me and stuff, at least I could be there and listen. And then after say, okay, so what can I now do for you? And while it may not have seemed like a whole lot, sometimes they just wanted somebody to yell at for the time. But for those that I've had a chance to speak with and help serve in the community, I just want to publicly thank you for being as patient as you can. We've never experienced anything like this, but what I thought about was some of those communities where it was weeks before they even got power or could get in supplies, ice, bottled water, whatever. So I just want to publicly thank them all over the county for being patient and trying to work through the process. So I want to say thank you to them for that. That's all I have, ma'am.
Commissioner Justice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since last we met, kind of in that window between the storms, several organizations continued with their events. Commissioner Eggers and I attended the Hail Prayer Breakfast at the Salvation Army in Clearwater. We attended Habitat for Humanity, dedicated 5 new homes in Safety Harbor, old school board property there. Beautiful homes right there, and every new resident there had some tie, family or history or job to the city of Safety Harbor, so it was a nice experience there. And then the last one was Maddie Williams Center had their first ever fundraising dinner, and I had the pleasure of presenting their first ever Visionary Award to their former director, Janet Hooper, there in Safety Harbor. So we had a few days of niceness among everything else, so nice to be able to be part of those. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, since our last meeting, a lot of our regular meetings were canceled. Fort Pinellas was canceled, among a few other things. But I did have an opportunity between storms to go to the Friends of the Pinellas Trail meeting, which was interesting. Brian Smith is part of that group, who was a planner with the county for 40-some-odd years or something like that. But the trail, the 30th anniversary of the trail is next year, 2025. So they are trying to plan some events around that and trying to get an idea of what that looks like. So I would think it would be, I'd like to see them to come at a future work session. I know we've got a lot on our plate right now, but for them to do a presentation on the history of the Pinellas Trail and kind of think about, what does that 30th anniversary look like for them? So they're very committed. Small group of people, but really, really committed to the trail and improving it and making it better. And as a regular user of the trail, I certainly appreciate that. Had the opportunity to make a few remarks at the grand opening of the Valor Preserve, which is an affordable housing complex. Very nice one, actually, in Seminole, focused on veterans, and I was joined there by Commissioner Flowers and Commissioner Justice. We just had a lot of public engagement since the last meeting with, as we all have, with, people just trying to deal with the hurricane, whether it's been emails, whether it's been phone calls, and I've had a few of those calls where it's just like they're just venting, and you just got to let them go. And then sometimes that's all they want to do is they just want to vent and be heard, and that's it, and you just have to be respectful of that and try to help them in any way that you can. But it's been challenging, certainly been challenging for all of us. And I just want to thank all the county staff as well, who's been, working 18, 20-hour days for 3 weeks while they're dealing with their own storm issues, whether their house got flooded or damaged or whatever. And I was out for a run the other day, a day or two ago, and ran out of my neighborhood, and there was a utilities truck there. So I stopped, and I just went up and said, hey, I just want to thank you very much for, everything you're doing. And it turns out it was Travis Cool who got recognized here this morning. So that was kind of, that was kind of fun. But anyways, just want to thank everybody for all their work and their patience. And we're in it together. We'll get through it together. And at the end of the day, I was, in between storms, I was down touring the beaches, and I went down to Sunset Beach, which has just been unbelievable. The amount of destruction there is just catastrophic. And there was just people kind of walking around because you couldn't even get cars down there because there was so much sand blocking everything. But the attitude of everybody is they're been kicked in the teeth, right? But they were all like, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll get through it. And that was just really refreshing, just to see the resilience of people in the face of possibly the most devastating thing that they've ever been through in their entire life. So at the end of the day, we'll all get through it together. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Commissioner Long.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, since the last time we met, we've had a lot of events happen in this county that are unprecedented. But there was a great ray of sunshine in the Long family because we welcomed during the hurricane my second great-grandson. And so he's just so cute. And it gives you a lot of hope, for the future when you have a brand-new baby to pour all your love and affection into. So, what? Wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I hope his personality, told his mother, I hope his personality doesn't mirror what happened on the day he was born. That's it. Nope.
No? Okay. Commissioner Eggers.
That was great. Thank you. Yeah, just, a couple meetings. The TMA Leadership Group, which is our regional group looking at consolidating our MPOs, met on September 20th. Seems like forever ago, and continue to make progress there slowly but surely. Commissioner Justice mentioned the Habitat for Humanity and the prayer breakfast. Well, I tell you what, people at the dedication of the 5 homes, people just like they were clamoring for good stuff, good news, and it was just a great morning. So that was wonderful. I've tried to encapsulate to people to our residents that I run into the logistic effort, the life-saving efforts that our staffs have done. Have gone through, have addressed, and it's just overwhelming. I'm not sure how you can encapsulate that into something that folks can understand that we are trying to meet our residents at their toughest time, and that takes a lot of thought process. It takes a lot of empathy. It takes a lot of, as Commissioner Scott said, just you got to listen. Sometimes they just want to vent. Sometimes, like somebody says, I want him out here. And I said, all right, I'm coming. So I just went, and while I was there, he said, I can bring about 50 neighbors right now if you want. And I said, it's okay. I got your message. And then our communications folks sent out a note about the debris issue that I think hopefully assuaged his concerns, because just not getting any attention. And, you know, so that's just part of it. The lady that was here earlier about her community, and I'll say it, I don't want to mess it with the Wedgwood community, up off of County Road 95, and her frustrations. I mean, you can just feel what she's going through, and all we can do is now respond, and try to make that together. But yeah, people talked about community coming together. We had a lot of those feeding missions, and people, somebody said, I'm just going to pay for folks in Palm Harbor to come to the center and have a meal. And it was great because people were there serving the folks that really needed that attention and love and caring. And it was really great. And just, watching these Duke Energy folks getting out there and doing their jobs, granted, but they're holed up in all places, like the Trot, for crying out loud. Had the roof ripped off, but they were there. That was their home away from home, and doing all this work, coming in from all over the place to help us out. And so, just my final comment really was about the Karen Yatcham's group, the Care About Me. It's amazing the number of people who have felt really stressed, really going, and again, and you can't control that emotional stuff that's going on inside. And so I've just been telling people about, this group. I'm really, proud of this group's efforts of bringing that service to our residents. It's just incredible. And I said, you can call, just talk, tell them what's going on, and if they need to set up an appointment for you, they can. But I just think it's just great to have. And Karen, I don't know what the number's up to now, but I'm sure it's higher than than it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I want to commend you again for bringing that to us, to making it happen for our residents. Good stuff, and that's all I've got. Madam Chair, thank you.
Commissioner Lettville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to Commissioner Eggers' point, and others have made it, it is amazing to see the resilience of Pinellas. And just down the street from me, the Standard Apartments had the largest rescue, I believe, in Pinellas County history. 500 residents had to be rescued by not only just our sheriff's office, but FWC and a couple other sheriff's offices. And fire departments who, and other agencies who literally risked their lives during the storm to rescue these people. And these folks have been living in their cars in the Best Buy parking lot. And this weekend, some private citizens and some teachers at Eisenhower decided to set up a little table to give away some food to these folks and some things, and because they were able to get back into their apartment complex, I believe, on Saturday. And I posted, something on social media Saturday, and it was just one table with just, some food, not much. And by the end of the day, it was up to 3 tables, 2 tents. I had people asking me, what can I donate, to help these people? And, other churches were getting involved, other organizations like Calvary Church was feeding them, other, organizations, and it's just amazing to see what, and our folks have been helpful to those people. But that's just, a small sampling of just one area of our community that, those people have lost everything, and there's pockets of Pinellas County that people have lost everything, you know, they can't drive somewhere because their cars were ruined too. And to see our community come together has been, you know, something special to see, and I wish we didn't have to see it, obviously. After Helene happened, CFO Jimmy Petronas set up Insurance Village at the Long Center, and I participated in it with Representative Burfield, and there were over 30 insurance companies there, and FEMA was there. And, you know, and just to meet people that have literally lost everything was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. And that was over a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I remember the CFO came up to me on Saturday afternoon and said, we're canceling tomorrow because there's another storm in the Gulf that's coming. And I literally wanted to cry. And that was around the same time that, you know, we got a call saying that we were going to have a executive policy group call that we had with Barry and his team, and you know, basically that, you know, we're about to do this all over again. And now there's a whole nother set of people in our community that have literally lost everything. And I'm not sure if there's ever been an area that that has had 2 hurricanes in 2-week span of time. But who's ever controlling the weather, I wish they'd send it someplace else. I've also participated in some Feeding Tampa Bay events, both after Helene and after Milton. One of the, you know, there's a lot of sad stories, you know, businesses that have been impacted all throughout our community. One such story is in my district, Caponia's Dugout, which is an iconic Clearwater restaurant that's been around for 52 years, announced this week that they are closing. Many people have gone to that restaurant over the years, and they have done a lot of great work in our community in Clearwater, particularly with youth sports, and they will certainly be missed. The Caponia family has just done tremendous philanthropic work throughout our community, and I just wanted to thank them for that publicly. And last, I know we've thanked them, but I just wanted to thank Barry again, along with Kathy, the sheriff, Kelly Levy, Jill Silverboard, and I know it's dangerous mentioning people because you forget people, but Della, Karen Yacham, and also Barbara, who did a tremendous job both during the press conferences and also her team in spitting out all of the social media posts that they did both during the storm and after the storm. That was a tremendous help to our community. But as Commissioner Scott mentioned, we are a resilient community, and we certainly will be back. Thank you very much. Oh, and I also wanted to mention you, Madam Chair. I know you've dealt with a lot with your house and things going on, but the leadership you have shown this community, and both yesterday and different things that you've done, where you have put this community before yourself, has not gone unnoticed, and it is very appreciative, and we thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I put all my stuff together. I ordered a pod, and it didn't occur to me that it didn't have anything to put in it. So I ordered a pod, and I have a total of 19 bins with dishes, because that's the only thing that survived. So I have this gigantic pod with nothing in it. But anyways, we learn about those things. So anyways, thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it. So I do, when people call and they're very angry, and I let them listen, and they don't believe I understand what they're going through. But when I tell them, then they go, oh, you do understand. And sometimes we go through those hardships so we can understand. So before I say anything else, I want to wish a belated birthday to our Commissioner Renee Flowers. Her birthday was on October 8th. So happy belated birthday to you.
And you know what? My birthday wish for the storm, I asked for the storm to be diverted, for it to be killed, or for it to be weakened.
Thank you.
And so it was weakened and it was diverted. So that's all I asked for my birthday, and so.
Thank you.
We got that.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
and,
yes.
you know, as always, I want to thank our deputies that are here today. They're always here for us, and, you know, I just appreciate them so much. There is a TDC meeting tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting meeting on everything we have to talk about, so I'm looking forward to that. I did, in between storms, I presented at the Seminole Rotary about the CAM, and I've asked the Rotarians to try and let me, I'd like to do the circuit and talk about CAM. Actually, Barbara, if we could get, Barbara's not here, but if Barbara could get some television interviews about CAM, I think it would be good. I think, I'm not sure if we're prepared for what could come, but I think as the adrenaline fades that people are going through and their exhaustion sets in, I think some people are going to be in a dark place. And the fact that they can call or text or go online and get an appointment relatively quickly, I think would be a good thing for us to promote. So I've been trying to do the circuit, and I think now a lot of things are canceled, so it's hard to do those meetings. But I know the people in Seminole Rotary were happy I was there, and the timing was good. And I know probably some people called after that meeting that Friday, and they were sharing the information. So I think it would be wonderful if we could really get a big push on letting people know it's out there, because the fatigue is setting in and it's going to get dark for some of those folks. So even though we have beautiful weather to make us feel a little uplifting, it's nice that fall has finally arrived in Florida and we have some cooler nights. I also want to thank you. It's such a small thing, and I know during the first one I might have come off short, but when you don't have power and everybody's doing the nice congenial reply alls, it really deleted a lot of the power, and some of us were just savoring every ounce of power that we had on our phones. And so it's wonderful when we do the reply alls and we communicate that way and give everyone good wishes, but I'm really grateful that this round that was limited because as you said, you didn't have power for a long time, and people's phones are the only way that they can stay connected to what's going on. And even though self-service was spotty, that was a good practice, and thank you. And I know we wished everybody well, but I'm glad we kept the chatter of just chatting low to preserve people's batteries, because it was very important. And we don't think about that on a regular basis, but in times of crisis, it was very important. I do want to throw out a shout out. I'm going to selfishly do a shout out to my son and his team at the Clearwater Fire Department, who is among those people rescuing the people in the apartments. And during Helene, they were out in that storm, in that horrible wind and waves, dangerous rising tides, and they were rescuing people off of their roofs and in their streets. And, you know, they do it so willing to run in and save people. So kudos to my son and the Clearwater Fire Department and all the other fire departments out there that did such a great job. Also, as you all know, the president came in. I think, you know, he called Wednesday night. I think it was Wednesday. Days all get mixed up. He called Wednesday night. I immediately contacted Barry. My husband recorded most of that phone call, so Barry knows what I stated. You know, very quickly, Barry and the staff got together. When he told me, I'm going to give you my cell phone number, it was his chief of staff cell phone number. I want you to call me with a list of the needs that you have. And so very quickly, Barry got together and drafted a common sense list of needs that were all within the president's authority that didn't need congressional approval. And that way you could be swift and quick. And so his team just got together very quickly. Right after the storm, we called his chief of staff. They had the right person for us to deal with call us back. They've made some commitments that I'm hoping, I'm not sure I should say publicly, but I'm hopeful that they are going to follow through, and some of those include Bee Tree Nourishment. One of the first things the president asked me what our needs were right away, and I said, sir, the fact that we don't have sand on our beaches is a huge problem. We can't protect our people, we can't protect our property, and we can't protect our infrastructure. And he said he understood, but he didn't have an answer yet, but I believe there may be one soon. So hopefully that will come out, and some really good will come out of that conversation. The White House has been in contact with me every single day since. So we do have a direct line when we need it, and I know we'll use it. Many of you have asked, and in the legislature have asked why they weren't invited. I don't have the answer to that, but what was made clear to me is that the White House did not want to take any people away from the work they were doing. They didn't want to take a lot of police officers. They didn't want to take elected officials that were out doing the good work for the people. He wanted to keep it very minimal and small, and he did that. He kept it very minimal and very small. I'm sure you all would have enjoyed meeting him and being there, but I think he really, the focus was not about a big thing and bringing everyone together. It was really about coming in, making a commitment, and leaving so everybody could continue the good work that we've been doing. So, so on behalf of the commission, I did thank him. And so other than that, what else have I got? I think that's all I have. So our next meeting, I think, is in a couple weeks. I don't have that date. But if there's nothing else for the good of the group, on the 24th, thank you. So on the 24th, we'll see you again. And in the meantime, stay strong, stay resilient, help your neighbors, and we're all going to get through this better than we were before. Thank you.